They're early. Why are you early? Don't come in early. Hi.
Hello, Matt. How's it going?
Hi, guys. How you doing?
All good. How's it going?
Not too bad. Bit nervous, but all good. Just making sure we've unmuted everybody.
Yep.
Okay.
Tobias, you should have. Yeah, you've got the unmute there. Okay, good.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. How's it going?
Yeah, good. I've just got to do some things because he told me I had to do something.
Yep.
Yeah, look, if you need to help you.
And Laura, we just sent the unmute to you there. You should be good.
Yeah, hi.
Greetings.
Participants, what the heck?
Where's Luke gone? I've lost him. Did we unlook?
There's Luke. I'm unmuting him right now. Yep.
Hey, how you doing? You all right?
Hello.
I got a background. That's great.
We try.
Better than hours earlier.
Yeah, trying to be professional. I was like, Luke, by any chance have you got background?
Awesome.
It's just fun. It's fun with Zoom when it just keeps rearranging everybody. I'm trying to click on somebody to unmute them, and they keep jumping around in the list. So
It might be easier to do on the participant bit on the side. Have we got everybody? Think so.
Haven't gotten Cloud yet.
No, not yet. Okay. How y'all doing? All good?
All good.
Awesome.
Hey, Scottie.
Yeah,
how
man.
you doing? You all right?
Nervous.
Don't be nervous. It's fine. Everyone's really friendly. It'll be fine. Behave.
Said that to
I
you,
can see lots of familiar faces. Some of them are in our band, so that's fun.
Yeah. That's cool. Thank you for doing this, guys, by the way. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
No, thank you for having us.
Cheers.
Yeah, no problem. I'm still like a newbie at it, but we're getting there. We're getting there. What's all drinking? Oh,
I've got some Copperberg
nice. What kind?
mixed fruits.
Oh, I like the strawberry.
Yeah, it's nice and sweet.
Regular beer, and then depending on how difficult the questions are later, I've got one of these as well, just in case.
Well, the Q&A questions are not too bad. The never have I ever questions. I'm quite happy for you to out each other if somebody's lying. Sorry, guys. So I'm totally fine with that. We've had a right blast this week coming up with these questions. So it's going to be fun, I think. I hope.
Cool.
We've got Cloud.
Sorry?
We've got Cloud's
Yep.
in.
Cloud's here. We got everybody.
Oh, cool. Have they been unmuted? Oh, yeah. Awesome. Cool. Oh,
I'll keep myself muted. I'll keep an eye on the waiting room for you, boss.
Thank you. Cheers, Charles. Bless Charles is my tech support. I'd wreck something if he didn't help me. Shall we start, or should we give it a couple more minutes to see if there's anybody else?
Don't mind. Crack on if you like.
Yeah, can do. Yep, so question 1 is band history. How did you meet, form, / and who came up with a band name and why?
That's a great question. How did we meet? God, blimey. Toby, how did we meet?
He was born. Yeah. How did we meet? Okay, yeah. So yeah, Luke's my brother. So he was born. I don't know. It might be easier because the thing is, with the band, there's been a lot of people over time. So it might be easier for everyone to say how they each say their own bit about how we all met. And then the name. I'll tell you. Start off with that. Matt, your turn. How did you meet?
So I met Luke at school. We met at primary school. We were about 5 or 6 years old, and I've been best friends ever since. So that was, yeah. And then I got invited along to practice one day, which Toby wasn't about. Never really.
No, I hated him. I thought it was gonna be a terrible idea.
And it turned out to be all right, and that was my bit.
Laura?
I used to have guitar lessons with Barry. So Barry, he used to play guitar in the band. We would just kind of jam in one day after a lesson. He's like, oh, the stuff you kind of like writing kind of sounds like the music that we play in the band. We're looking for a bass player. Do you want to come along and try out? So that's kind of how I got into it.
Oh, that's cool.
And
Yeah.
then Cloud?
And I was doing a music technology course, which did not help me at all, at college. And I sort of just got to know Laura because I think she was 1 year above me, or at least got to college first. And after a few years of being friends, Laura got into the band and moved on to start playing guitar. And the bassist had left. And she sent out a post on Facebook and, advertised for a bass player. And Laura sent me a message saying, hey, do you want to come audition for ESO? And I went along, got some constructive criticism, and they haven't booted me yet.
Love it.
Polite way of putting it.
Well, there may be a story behind there. Might have something someone sat on the Never Have I Ever.
Yeah.
Find out the information. That's cool. Yeah. So the name, yeah.
Go for it.
Sorry, yeah. I was just gonna say the name, the band name.
Oh, that's a long time ago, and we had a guitarist who came up with it, and it's stuck ever since. But I mean, when I say that was a long time ago, and it's funny really, because when I say it's almost lost in time, like we've been doing it for so long, it's sort of it's pretty boring really. Someone said, hey, I like this name. We were like, yeah, that's a great name. And we've just been using it ever since.
Yeah. How long have
Kind
you
of
been?
suited us.
So it does actually. Yeah, it's a wicked name.
So it's sort of, yeah.
How long have you been together? You've been together a while.
Bloody hell.
Yeah. Too long.
A long time. Like
the late 90s, I reckon.
Wow, so a while.
Quite a while. Vintage.
yeah,
Wow.
like forever. Like, and do you know, more of my life than I've not been in the band.
Oh wow. Sorry for making you all feel old there.
Oh,
No, it's cool. It's just like, do you know what? It's a weird thing because you don't, like, I don't feel older. I don't behave older. Like, life isn't like that. And I think that you just go for love, do what you do, and that's just the end of it. And it's weird how much you can do together and be around each other and still love being around those people and still love doing the same things. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
if you didn't love it, you might do it for 2 or 3 years and then stop, and then that's that. You got all this, like, in an odd way, you don't really realize the time. And not being funny, before we did this, we were on a Zoom chat just checking this all works.
Yeah.
And like my face hurts because we were all just laughing for the last like a half hour, 40 minutes of just chatting crap and laughing because we're just, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're still like that now. So it's, I've known Matt since he was 5,
Yeah.
It's a long time, isn't it?
It is. And it's sure to find those people that you can be friends with and they're that close as well. So it's a rare thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And it's it's funny because I've known his parents since I was that age, and his mum was terrifying when I was little, and then she's lovely when you grow up, and you sort of, when you're little, you think, oh my god, they're gonna kill me.
Yeah.
Then you grow up and you're bigger than them, and it's just a funny old life, and it's so good. Sure, one day all the kids will be bigger than me and scaring me, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. What were the band's musical influences? That's from Stacey.
I talk too much. Let one of them do it.
I talk too much too.
Anybody can take it. I'm not fast.
Fun game. So like, I think we get compared a lot to like a Perfect Circle and Tool and bands like that, and we definitely like those bands. Don't get me wrong, they're a. But our influences are really broad, because like I'm shamelessly into like more sort of commercial music, really, if that's the way of putting it. I'm dead into like Bring Me the Horizon and stuff like that at the moment. Whereas Toby's probably more into more obscure kind of weirdy beardy stuff, as I would call it.
Yeah, but you say that, I'll listen to all sorts of stuff. You say that, yeah, I do listen to more obscure stuff, but I'll listen to classical, but I'll also listen to, I don't know, to Shinedown or like Five Finger Death Punch or something. But I'll also listen to, do you know what I mean? I'll listen to a broad range of stuff. I mean, the only thing I probably don't listen to a lot of is rap, because it just doesn't sort of float my boat. But that's not to say it's not got something about it and that people don't like it for a thing. But for me personally, it's very rare I'll hear one of those songs and I'll think, yeah, man, that's good, Not that it doesn't happen, but do you know what I mean? It's just not very often that I'll listen to something like that and think, wow,
Yeah.
But we have like a wicked thing where like all of our influences, I think, have this. It's like a big like Venn diagram or something, like where there's this kind of overlap in the middle.
Yeah.
Where our sound is like we all like band like Typo Negative, for example, like that's kind of a happy space, if you like, one of them, I suppose. But yeah, there's like a bunch of bands like that I think we would all go, yeah, they're a cracking band, and that's I think why our music sounds like it does, because like we've got, there's this space that sits between all of our weird like music that we all like, and that just we think's really cool. Kind of using kind of stuff that's dark and ethereal and sort of, a bit magical in some way. I think that's what we like.
I agree.
It's interesting because like over the last 5-10 years, like people ask, what's your sound? Who do you sound like? Describe what your music is, and never been able to do that. And only recently, during lockdowns, someone was doing a video review, or like a live first time hearing, and they summed up the best way to describe the band. You never know whether to sway or rock your head. It's like, that's it. There's so many influences, but writing for the band's tough as well, because we all know the sound, yet you can't describe the sound.
Yes. But it works, and that's the main thing, isn't it? And it's brilliant. I think it's awesome music, so yeah. You know that. I was going to say, what is your inspiration for the In Dreams album, and what made you cover True Faith and You're Not Alone by Laws on Facebook? And Laws is here somewhere.
Hi, Laws. Thanks. That's a great question. I think In Dreams has got like a bunch of different, kind of things going on in it, really. But like, so the track In Dreams itself, like when they got the name, because I, was literally asleep, and the melody and the sound just like came in my head, and I was like, let me turn my background thing off, because you can see my little room here that I'm in. And like, I came down to this keyboard here in the morning. I was like, oh, I just had this kind of sound and melody and all this stuff in my head, and it took about 10 minutes to kind of just bash it down, really, and just get this tune out. And I was like, and it sounded exactly, this never happens, right? But on this day, it just sounded exactly like I had it in my head, and I was like, that's fucking ace, like never think music I write is good, to be honest, because like I think as an artist you always think, oh, it's not good enough, but on that day I was like, yeah, this is fucking brilliant. So that kind of just came in a dream, and then like I think the kind of the lyrics and all the other stuff kind of almost came as an extension of that. Toby often like the kind of not mumbles, but kind of makes sort of sounds over the top of like the music, and then that kind of evolves into words, and then we chat about life and the universe and everything, and that's something I really enjoyed on this album. Me and Toby spent a bit more time together, just like chatting about stuff that means stuff to us, like our family and people that we've lost and all that kind of stuff, and what all the things we care about and what we want to say to people, I guess, really, in a way. And it's really nice actually to spend time with no pressure or anything. Like we were just taking our time and doing our thing and just coming up with ideas. But I think that the inspirations come from all sorts of different places. And some tracks like that one that I just mentioned, like came out in like 10, 15 minutes. Other tracks are like a lot harder, you know, like the first track on the album, which I really like as well, is called Breaking the Unknown. You know, that was, that had about 5 or 6 different choruses, you know, before we finally got there.
Yeah.
It was a tough one to crack. And there's a track on the album called Hunted, which is not, you know, any one of the singles or anything, but it was like, that's a track that we had probably since I want to say like even maybe when we wrote the riddle, maybe even like it was a long time ago. We had this riff and it was kind of this thing we just never quite landed, and then we kind of had this, you know, moment where we were trying out some ideas, and that one just kind of came together just magically. I can't explain why really, but it was an alignment of planets. And the cover songs, because I haven't forgotten the question, although I had, but now I haven't, is because we did you know, we'd written a whole bunch of songs actually, like for this album, for In Dreams, and previously we did a track called Silence, which you probably, you know, some of you will know, and you know, that went really well, and people responded well to it. And when we play live, like if people haven't heard us, like if we're supporting a bigger band or something, you know, that's kind of helpful because they're kind of they it's familiar to them and they kind of can get into that.
Yeah.
And so we tried a couple of covers. Like we never really intended to put 2 covers on the album, actually, to be honest. We were just trying out some ideas. And in the end, just how it came out, just by chance and luck, is that those ones just, you know, came out really well. And initially, like for me at least, You're Not Alone was going to be, you know, a single that we were going to do a video with and all that. And then this fucking advert came on the telly for Lloyd's, which was like You're Not Alone, and it sounded kind of similar to ours. And I was like, bugger, we can't do that now. Although no one would have cared anyway, probably would have been fine. But then we did True Faith, and that came out really well as well. So we thought, okay, screw it, we'll do that one instead. But yeah, there's no particular rhyme or reason. It's just organic, if I can put it that way. I don't know if anyone else would disagree with me, but that's how I see it anyway.
No, not really. It just is what it is. To be honest, there was a moment where we sat down and we did say 2 covers. You can't really put that on an album. And then there was another bit later on where we just thought, what? Why can't you? And then we just thought later on it would be like, it doesn't matter because you just won't bother putting any covers on to say the next album or whatever, and it just doesn't matter in the long run. When you look at people like Marilyn Manson, he's done shitloads of them, and it's never really hurt him. And you know, it's about what you do to it, whether you bring something to it. If you don't bring anything to it, then there's no point doing it, you know. And so that's kind of the deal with that.
Yeah, there is like a fine line with covers, isn't there? It's like, make it your own, but not too similar. But if you go too far, it's like,
yeah, it can be, can't it?
Yeah, definitely. The next question is, did you guys take music lessons? That's from Natalie KS from Facebook. I'm not sure if she's on here.
I think Laura should answer that. She was muted by mistake and now she's not, I think.
Yeah, you know, come up. I was like, oh dear.
That was my fault. Yeah, I've had quite a few like different music lessons over the years. I've had like piano, bass, guitar, and funnily enough, like how I mentioned earlier, how I got into the band was through having guitar lessons with Barry, who used to play guitar in the band. So yeah, I've had like a few different teachers over the years. It's kind of been nice to have like a mix because you kind of get different like influences from different teachers. Like I've had like a classical teacher at one point, and you kind of take things that you learn from them and kind of apply it. So yeah, I've always enjoyed having lessons, like learning new things. You can never learn enough, I don't think. On guitar, there's always something to learn.
I did some recorder lessons at school.
One of the many skills he has.
Yeah. That's seriously legit. That's about it.
No singing lessons.
What about you guys?
I remember just being at school, and I actually hated the fact of learning theory and everything. Like, it really threw me off when I was younger. Fortunately, they have tab. So when I was learning guitar, it was all your mates would sit around this sheet of numbers and you'd all learn it. And it was, you know, things like Sum 41 and early Linkin Park Day stuff. And that was great. And then as you sort of develop and you start improving your skills, you start wanting to know what you're playing, and you start or at least I did. I sort of started researching it more, and then I just found myself learning theory and how to write music, because you could, again, you unlock more of the instrument when you start doing that. So originally, again, I hated someone teaching. It was all very self-taught, which is more sort of raw and natural. But then it's developed into taking lessons from anyone online, YouTube, and learning as much as you can.
What about you, Matt? Did you take any lessons?
Yeah, I did when I was a kid. I had I had lessons when I was very young, and my hands were too small at the time. So then I started back at 11. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Extra small guitar for Matt.
Like a ukulele.
Shorter frets.
Little frets. And
oh my god.
7, and then
You just slayed yourself, Matt.
I haven't really had lessons since I was about 16. Then just sort of learning from friends, and people show you bits and pieces, and you're listening to music and learning to figure it out on your own and stuff like that, and with other people, and just that's been a lot more of what I've learned sort of, over the years, really, since I was probably since I was about 16. An adventure.
Yeah, definitely. Did we ask everybody? Sorry, I think, did I? Look, did you take
Hey, Scottie.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is it? Is it about, did I have lessons? Sorry, I got lost in Matt's sort of crazy world of small guitars.
No, yeah.
Also, I discovered backgrounds. Look at this, it's great, isn't it? Look, you can
it's wicked.
Well, now I have to swipe across
Great
to find
fun.
you.
I've just worked this out. If you go all the way to the left, you can just see who's talking, and it will automatically change for you.
Oh, there
that's
you go.
handy.
Genius. There you
Mate,
go.
I'm just
Wicked.
going to do that then. Okay, good.
This is great fun. But yeah, sorry, did I have lessons? Before I answer
Technology.
that, someone messaged me called JP Scott, and they said, can I say hi to Beth? And I think Beth is here. Hi, Beth.
JP.
Did I have lessons? Yeah, I think, no, not really. I mean, I had drum lessons when I was little, but it was kind of, I don't want to call it like nerdy drums, but it was kind of, it was kind of, it wasn't like Dave Grohl drums, which is what I wanted to be playing, So, so not really. But you don't really need lessons, I don't think. I think if you've got, if you've got music in your blood, as it were, you just need to practice like all the time and just learn all your favorite tunes and do all that stuff, and then eventually, hopefully, you won't be crap. I'm hoping one day that will be true.
Yeah, well, that kind of leads on to the other question: is if you weren't musicians, what would you do for a job? And that's from Cheryl.
Well,
Carry on, Luke.
that's a really easy question to answer because we do all have jobs, actually. So my day job, I do like nerdy computer stuff. So I'm like a kind of a web designer sort of thing, Yeah. Wicked.
Power to the IT. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say that's why you're tech support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People always call you up and they're like, "Oh, can you make me a website?" Or my dad's the worst. He's like, I've clicked on something and someone's asking me for money. Should I give it to them? And I'm like, "No, Dad, don't do it. Don't do it." or like you're on a call and it's like, "You're on mute, Dad. You're on mute," and he's talking away and it's just like, it's the worst.
So I called my dad on FaceTime. He just kept the phone up to his ear. I'm like, "Dad, I'm looking at your ear. Dad, take the phone away from your ear. Take the phone away from your ear."
Sounds like my gran. Oh, it's good fun, isn't it? So yeah, sorry.
Real jobs.
Yeah, real jobs.
Yeah, to be honest, I did wonder about this because, like, after you said about you know, what job would you have? I just thought, actually, what would I do? You know, like if I, because you don't know, do you? Do you know what I mean? In an ideal world, what would you do? But when I spoke to my missus, she said you'd probably do something artistic or creative, something like that anyway, because realistically, that's all I'd ever probably want to do. The only other thing that I did do, I did Kung Fu for quite a while, and I was training to teach that. So maybe I'd have done that. But other than that, I don't really know. Like, there's not really, like, in the really real world that earns money, there's nothing that I like the idea of doing.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
like
no.
Everything, like mostly things that earn money to me are completely disinteresting. It's like creating, making shit like that, you know, is the thing.
Yeah. No, I agree. I get that completely.
It's sort of a much better way to pose the question, isn't it? As in, what would we do if we weren't musicians? What would fill that time? Sorry.
Hey,
like,
mine's snoring's getting louder and louder. I'm waiting for it just to start like coming through, you know.
Oh,
Yeah,
We lost Cloud. Is he gone?
I am here.
Taken
I
out
am
by
here.
the dog.
Yeah. Oh God, running around.
So he got
going
smothered by the dog.
crazy. So I've done a few different jobs. I'm currently just I manage in a store at the moment. But if I didn't have music in my life and, you know, wasn't a musician, then again I'd sort of put a lot more time into other hobbies I've had. Like fitness has always been one, so perhaps I'd be moving towards that industry more.
yeah.
Yeah, man. You do have all them, you know, muscles. You could be like selling yourself.
Lockdown, my friend, it's all
God.
melted now.
Has it? Oh, dude. I set up my garage. I've been like out there going for it because I had some time off. Spent to, you know, muck about doing stuff. It's great. Been trying to learn some calisthenics. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I know, yeah.
I have to give you a kung fu match sometime.
Oh, I'm sure you'll kill me. I'm just
Actually,
fine.
here's a
Don't
quick
worry.
story for everyone. So I was bodybuilding. I was probably a few years in, and I was quite a bit of a lump. And me and Toby, we did an odd job with your dad, some roofing. And and there's Toby. I sort of, again, slim guy, bit of muscle on him. He's lumping 15 heavy roof tiles up, and I've gone, bloody yeah, I'll take 10 up because I don't feel safe. Anyway, so we got to talking, and we're standing on the edge of this roof. And it's not that high, but if you fell, it would hurt. And Toby's saying, you're a big guy, but you should do some martial arts training to strengthen your core. And I've gone, well, try and push me over. He almost threw me into the road. Sat in
you should never tempt fate. Try and push me off this roof. Yeah, sure. Oh God!
Never underestimate.
I'm sure you were a lot safer than you felt.
No, I did not feel safe.
In safe hands.
Oh my God! I could tell you some terrible stories about things like that, but I won't because it's.
We'll save it for Never Have I Ever.
I was going to say.
Yeah, sure.
It'll all come out.
Never have I ever tried to kill a bandmate.
I remember.
Yeah, you thought it was all completely innocent. This has scarred me for life.
Yeah. Oh, bless you. It's those nightmares you have of suddenly like being pushed and then wake up. Yeah.
So when you feel like you're falling in bed.
Nightmares. Yeah.
Yeah, flashback. Oh, bless you. That's brilliant. Did I do that? I've lost my train of thought. I'm too busy like laughing and forget I'm like crazy. Oh yes, are we still on? Yeah, we are. Sorry, yeah. If you had to tour with any famous band, who would it be? Like if you could pick your favorite band to tour with, who would you pick? And that's from Matthew on Facebook.
I think I'd like to tour at Ramstein. I think that'd be wicked fun.
Yeah.
But like I wouldn't
bloody hell,
want to.
yeah,
but they're the band that you wouldn't want to be followed by, so it's kind of like I do want to tour with them, but I don't like.
Yeah, but the thing is, the great thing about that is like, so like with Marilyn Manson, a wicked example, you're not gonna beat them in some ways. Like, and you could say musically, you might be able to slay it and do a wicked job and all the rest of it. But like their stage show was ridiculous. So every night I watch them every night. I've seen that band so many fucking times. I mean, shit loads of times.
It's their show, isn't it?
But it really it's really worth watching them that many times. Do you know what I mean? So like Rammstein would be very similar sort of gig, you know that like every night it would just be wicked. Like I know what you mean. There's people out there who are just great bands, and it would be wicked to go and play gigs with them and watch them and whatever. But the trouble is, there's so bloody many of them. Do you know what I mean? Like,
it's definitely a hard question to answer.
Yeah, it's not the easiest, but I think you've got a good one there. So yeah, nice one, dude.
They're wicked. I've seen them live at Download, and that was just mental. Like, sorry, I watched the live at Download, and it just looked mental. I was so gutted I didn't get to go there. So I was like, because they've got such good stage presence, don't they? Can be a bit
everyone that I know who's seen them really rates it. So
well, I remember seeing when I saw it's like when I first saw Marilyn Manson live, and it was just like I think, where was it? It was at like the Milton Keynes Bowl. I can't remember what the event was, but it was just like the most incredible. Yeah, big day out. Yeah, it was the most incredible stage show. And I just remember I was totally blown away, and I was like, oh my God. I mean, I already like Marilyn Manson anyway, and just seeing the gigs like ridiculous. I think I was there waiting for Metallica or something. Like, I wasn't particularly there to see Marilyn Manson, but I just remember just being totally blown away. And then and then when we were like going to support them, like the first time, I was like, oh shit, like we better practice, like, because they're going to be on after us, like, that's
and they're gonna slay it.
Yeah, they're going to be amazing. And so yeah, it was kind of that was incredible, and they were just so nice, weren't they? Like, that was not there was nothing to worry about. They were just so friendly, and except when they nicked our crisps at that time. Apart from that,
they did what?
They nicked our crisps.
Stole our rider.
Yeah, they had thousands of their own as well. They didn't need our crisps. I'm just kidding. It's fine.
Oh, dude, I don't remember the crisps. I remember fucking running out of beds to put beers in. It was offensive amount. But do you know what? It's funny because the other thing, there is the other side to it, like bands that you would want to see, like you'd like to play with once. Because there's like I'd like to see them because I think it might be weird. So if I was to sort of like say Ghost is that band for me, because basically they look like they're going to be terrifying, but they're basically ABBA with heavy guitars. And I find it really, really, really like juxtaposed. It like doesn't sit with me and so live I would kind of want to see it. But probably only once, because I can't stand ABBA. But if I was to go down a different road, I'd love to see Shinedown, because I reckon that Brent, the singer, is a fucking amazing singer. And I reckon live, they're going to be awesome live. I've just got a feeling it's a bit like Seven Dust or Soil, two other bands that I would say, like I know with Soil, because I've seen Soil. Soil, I went to see them live. I felt so sick before I walked in there. I had a stomach ache and a headache and that, right? I walked in there, I'm in the mosh pit bit, and they've got like now, I can't remember who was playing. I want to say like a demon, someone was playing. And I'm standing there for the first bit, feeling like not so great. And then they came on and they just started. And the whole thing goes. So like, I've just gone. By the time I've come back, I've been hit in the face. I've got blood all down me. My T-shirt's like in bits. And I was absolutely covered in, as you say, just blood and bits of T-shirt. But it was such a good gig. It was such a good night. And like, if I compare that to when I went to see Bush, that was a really, really big disappointment. And I mean that like in the nicest possible way, because I did like the band, but it was like, there wasn't that, they weren't, how do I describe it? They weren't into it enough. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there are bands that I would love to play like a gig with and everything. Seven Dust being one of those bands, massively underrated. They're just honestly an awesome band. And they probably had a huge effect on so many other bands. And yet, I don't know, they're kind of still, they're like as big underground as you could be. That I like, as in, how do I put, I don't know how to describe where they're at in the world. They're like this dominant force that's not really like Metallica for some reason. And yet they should be. Do you know what I mean? Or Korn, that kind of level of really, really fucking big band. They're not, for some reason, they've never quite, and maybe that's just the UK, they've never crossed over into that bracket. Yeah. And yet they really should be, you know, because they're just a fucking monster. But as I say, I kind of would like to see Ghost out of morbid curiosity. Do you know what I mean? They're like, there's I don't know if there's any bands you guys feel like that with, like, what you guys think.
I never really thought about it like that, though. Like, it's
Well,
quite
I don't
an
have any
interesting
money,
take
so
on
the
it.
only way I don't have any money, so the only way I see a band is if I get to play with them. Seriously, legit. I spend all my life poor, so it's sort of like it's. There's a whole bunch of bands I'd love to go and see, you know, because it'd be really cool. Oh wow, some writing's just come up the bottom here.
Yeah. Get on the chat.
Yeah.
Name some bands on the chat. There you go.
There you go.
I've always felt the same actually. When we went touring with Manson, it was the first sort of band I'd watched live and gone, wow, like, because I originally I wasn't a big fan of Manson's music.
Muse is a good idea.
I heard a selection of his songs, and again, it didn't sort of resonate with me. Watching him live, though, the performance was so incredible, and what they put out, it was an amazing product that I became a fan.
There you go.
But from that point, I sort of, went to show that you have to not just be good musicians, you actually have to put on a show when you're playing live.
Yeah.
Again, Rammstein are probably the biggest ones out there for that, with Pendulum as well and Dream Theater. But another band that have done incredibly ingenious things was actually Take That. I remember watching performance they did. I know. It was called The Circus. And I'm not a Take That fan, but I sat there and I watched this thing because it was so like I just remember them there was one song where they're like painting all their faces, and it's so simple, but you're so drawn in to the music and the emotion and everything because it's all the tension on what they're doing. And then they had crazy stuff where they're doing acrobats like above 40,000 open air stadiums, and it was just ingenious.
They were doing acrobats.
We'll just get Cirque du Soleil to join us.
They need the work right now. Why not? Yeah.
Yeah. Why not?
There's some great ideas on the chat. We've got AFI, Stain, Disturbed, Godsmack, and
AFI.
I don't know if I've heard of them.
Aren't they? They're just
Keast do.
This is the thing. Like, it's so hard because you say choose a band.
Yeah.
But I could choose a whole bunch of bands for all different reasons.
Yeah.
Like, and even not even just bands, but artists generally. There's so many different people to go and see. Nine Inch Nails, fucking wicked example.
Yeah.
There's so many people that I'd love to go and see, and to like, there's loads of bands I've seen, but generally, like, the way that usually happens is someone goes, "Hey, I'm going to go and see such and such, and my mate's pulled out of a gig. Do you want to come?" And it's like, yeah, if I can have a ticket for $5, you know, and then away you go. It's not like, it's just like, you know what I'm saying? It's there's so many.
Yeah.
It could be, you know. Yeah, don't set off the smoke alarm. Yeah, you're right.
Myself personally, I'm not a country fan, but from what I've heard, one of the best stage performers apparently is Garth Brooks. He puts on a hell of a show. Good example right there. Yeah.
Yeah. We went to see Robert Plant. We got invited to see him when he did that. What was that thing he did? The can't remember her name now. Anyway, so Alison Krauss, yeah. And Jesus, they were brilliant. And to be fair, when I got there, I thought, is this like gonna be like not my cup of tea? And am I gonna, And to be fair, like, actually, no, I'm not going to tell you that story. But I have to think about what I'm going to say, before I get anyone into trouble. No, but it was a really, really good show, and it was cool. It was really cool, and the musicians are just awesome. And it's funny, I can really appreciate musicians from all different types of stuff, It's there's some awesome.
Like the chat has turned into a wicked festival lineup here, as far as I'm concerned. This is great.
That's it. Yeah.
Catching it, and I'm like, well, that's a good band. That's a good band. Yeah, I'd go. I'd pay them on it. Wicked. Yeah. What is your most favorite gig ever? Like best experience, I'd say. Tour or not, and that's from Frankie on Facebook. It's Frankie.
Best gig ever, or weirdest gig ever, or
just the best you, like personally, your favorite one, if there's any that really stand out. I mean,
there's loads, but for all different reasons.
Yeah.
So obviously some of the big gigs have been great, and we've done some, like, in terms of venues, we played in a venue in I want to say, was it Prague that was underground?
Yeah.
And it was like, when I say, like, imagine getting a great big domed roof cathedral type fucking monster of a building and burying it about 30 floors underground. And then when you get to that point, you're at the top of it, and like you can literally see the ceiling. And then if you were to jump off that, you'd be dead. And like you'd probably squash a few people beneath you. It's a long way down. And then, but it got so hot in there, it was raining from the ceiling. That was awesome. But
every floor, it was like 10 degrees difference.
It was, yeah, it was amazing. So that was one, like, that was cool because of the venue. But then, like, we had like, so Jim will know this one. We played in a place called the Snooty Fox, and afterwards we had a bit of a lock-in. And we just went round drinking and arm wrestling, and I was teaching people bits of kung fu, and we were playing musical instruments and just getting pissed. And I don't even know how long we were there, but I know I was pretty wasted, and it was a great night. Let me think. Other things, like I played this gig once, right? And it was in Brighton. It was probably in the early days. And like, we're doing Miranda and the Tempest, which is a pretty sort of calm, quiet song. And this girl has sort of like, she's kind of dancing all a bit weirdy, And then she's come over and she's like got hold of me, sat on the floor and literally like cradling me like a baby and like stroking. I'm telling you, she was absolutely smashed on pills or something. She was out. She was totally out to lunch. But it was the weirdest experience. It was really bizarre. It was really cool. But so that's another really cool one.
Yeah.
Great. Like, I played this gig in Breedabast, and I love this like, so if Robert Plant and Rod Stewart had a baby, this guy is their baby, and he's like wearing this sort of like brown leathery jacket, but like a suede one with some dangly bits, and he's got the crazy hair, and he's got like the pointy shoes and shit, and he's like standing there, and I'm on stage, and I've got like beer, but my beer is in a plastic cup because you can only have plastic cups in the park, right?
Yeah.
And this geezer's got beer cans, and he's drinking them, and he's pulling them out of his bag like it's a fucking Harry Potter bag. It's just deep. It's just got so many beers in it. Anyway, so I finished my beer, and he's opened a beer and he's passed it up onto the stage. And because this is a festival, there's loads and loads of people there. There's like thousands and thousands of people. So I'm drinking the beers, and like 3-4 beers, and I'm looking at him thinking, mate, where are these beers coming from? And then anyway, so we get off stage and I get down and I'm like, hey dude, you're the only guy here with cans, where'd they come from? And he's like, well, this is my park, I live here. So I'm like, cool, you live here. So then he's like saying, so I said to him, like, when you say you live here, so you've got the beers here? And he says, yeah, I've got the beers, come with me. And so I'm like, we'll start filming this. My cousin is there, like, so like, he walks me off, and then we go and meet his mate, who's like this, when I say Captain Haddock geezer with like a little hat and like a string with a dog on, and like he's wearing hot pants, and you know, they're like little denim hot pants, and like when I was cowboy boots kind of thing, you know. So, and you've got these guys, and then he's like, come with me. So we go to this big tree, and I mean, you can't put your arms around it. If I was to try and put my hands around, and I'd hold Laura's hand, Luke's hand, around the big back, you know. And we go up to this tree, and he's like, this is my tree. And he peels back the branches, and inside the branches is the tree's got a hole in it, but you can walk in and stand in the tree, right? So I'm standing inside a tree full of beer, like a big fucking beer fridge, right? It's fucking full of them. So we get a few beers, we come out, and he takes me back over to his mate, like who I call Captain Haddock, right? So, and he's like, takes the dog string, and he's like, go with him. You know, he lives in the park too. So I'm like, wicked. How's it going? Let's go for a walk. So we're walking up this thing, and we come across these kind of big river, and there's these cannons the other side of the river. And then he's like, we're looking at the cannons. He's like, got wait a minute. And these people walk past, and he's like, right, come on then. So we start walking forwards, and he's counting. He's like, 1, 2, 3, 4. And he turns around and he's counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And he's off over here. Anyway, after a bunch of counting and walking lefts and rights, he stops. He drops to his knees and he starts digging. And he's pulling beers out of the ground like fucking potatoes out of the ground, right? And I swear to God, it's things like that that just make gigs amazing, because you meet amazing people who just are like, you go to incredible places, and like I've sat in the stadium that Freddie Mercury sang Barcelona in Barcelona. We just sat there drinking a beer. There's no one else there watching the sunset. It was incredible. Like when we went to what was that big castle, Carcassonne? And we were walking around Carcassonne and suddenly realised you're standing on a platform with a hole that they clearly used to throw oil out of or something. And if you fell out of that, you'd be like, and it makes you jump. You think, whoa, can't stand on that. But then it's all right. It's just some of the places, the people, the places, the things you see and do are what make it. Like you can have a wicked gig night, but it's like these. I don't even know how to describe it. You like, after a while you get to know it's happening, if that makes sense. Like you get to know that like this is a moment, like, and so then you kind of become heightened aware. Like the first times these sorts of things happen, you sort of like, these things are happening around you, you're like thinking, oh, this is pretty crazy, what the hell, like, but you know, honestly, I've had this idea for ages that we should write a book, but with all these things in it, because like some of them are just so ridiculous. You can't make them up, because they're just too. It's just stuff that happens to you, you know, like getting stuck inside a strip bar and being like the old lady locking the door and the police coming and you only went in there for a beer. Jesus.
Wow.
Completely innocent.
Mate, it was the only bloody
Just
shop
wandered
that was
in.
open in the Reaper barn in the middle of the day. So we had no choice to go in there to get a beer. So we went in, we sat down for a beer, and then this guy came over and said, would you like a beer? And we all said yes. But somehow this other, like Charlie, said yes, but not got a beer. They brought him over a bottle of champagne. And he was like, no, I wanted a beer. And then the doors locked. the bottle of champagne was like 200 euros, you know. It was it was crazy, and the beers were like 4 euros or something. But yeah, the point is, the best thing about music and touring and traveling about the places, you never really know what you're going to see. You never really know what's going to happen. The thing that makes it is the people, because you go somewhere and someone takes you into somewhere or takes you down somewhere. You know, you end up in like a bar underneath a bar in the middle of France with Marilyn Manson and all those guys drinking, and it's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
You kind of ask yourself, how the hell did I get here? You know, it's really cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I'd buy that book in a heartbeat. That would be a phenomenal read. I'd love that.
Yes.
Well, because we know so many of these guys as well who that's their day job, you know, and some of them, Jesus, like a good, like, it was, I tell you a weird thing. So we were traveling, obviously going through Europe, and every time we went to go to the next place, everyone would get all their drugs and shrink wrap them, and then they'd stick them on his bus because no one can, how do I put it? He'd been harassed so many times that he had like these legal things where they said they couldn't do anything. Do you know what I mean? Like they had to leave him alone. So everyone who had all their bits and pieces would all stick them in the same place. And the amount of times we got pulled over and people would like say, oh, you know, we want to check all your gear, and they'd open it and look at all your gear and go, nah, you're all right, go on, off you go. We could have carted anything, anywhere. We could have, I mean, when I say it's nuts, honestly, it's amazing.
Definitely.
It's like a super life, you know? It's, I'm rambling, aren't I? Sorry.
It was a longer answer than you were expecting, wasn't it?
No, but it's
yeah,
okay.
but you
It's
kind of started me off, and my mind just went off into like what it's like. It's better, like it's more. I suppose the question led me into what it's like. It's more. It's not an easy answer to the question, because there's so many things that can make a gig good. Like you can have a good sized stage, that helps. You can have you know, a great sound engineer, that helps. Lighting, that helps. And without all those things, you won't have a great gig. If you have a wicked audience, your night could just go totally off. Add to that one little spark of something crazy happening, and then, quite frankly, that's kind of why, like, in gig terms, like, I guess I've always been very like, I'll climb all over things and sing and go into the audience and come back and do whatever, because it's never been like, I've never felt like it's too safe just standing there playing. Do you know what I mean? It's too, you don't get that awesome, do you know what I mean?
It's too static.
Yeah, you know, like,
you need the dynamic. It's too static.
Yeah, and like I always describe, like, so I describe it like imagine like fish swimming, a big shoal of fish. You see them all moving along, and then suddenly they will change, and suddenly everything moves, and birds are the same, and music is the same, and like an audience, like a big audience, is the same. Like literally, a good vibe or a bad vibe can ripple through it so fast. A mood can ripple through. Like I remember being with Marilyn Manson, and like one or two people at the beginning started shouting like fuck you, and like this was at the very beginning, first like night, and I thought, oh shit, this is like bad news, because we were told like this can be hard work, you might have to sort of struggle through a bit. So I've just turned around and just gone like fuck you, and then the next thing you know, like the whole fucking place is doing it, and then they're all cheering and all, and it was like whew. But I didn't
turn
know
it around.
I never even knew I was turning it around. I just kind of like went with it. And then afterwards, these guys who started doing that were like at every gig for like 10 dates or something. And so we sort of got to know them, and they were all laughing. And the next night, they were all like there in the front row waving like, hey, how's it going? I was like, shit, it's you, okay? And it was,
the hardcore fans.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? There's those. I could talk about this all night. Let's go somewhere else.
So, Jim's for you climbed that one at Wakefield Rock Festival. Bad move. I know who put you up to that. What was that all about? Sorry.
Is that when you were climbing the scaffolding?
Oh Jesus,
I
yeah.
think you've done that a few times, to be fair. One with a raven or a crow.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like I don't know. It's just if it's there and it's like you just do, don't you? That was a great venue, actually.
Yeah, I just seen that pop up and I was like, interesting. He's out in you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But you know what? There's so much to out about me. Honestly, there's nothing. Honestly, I
think Toby does it well. You climb on shit, and then I go, I'll give that a go, and stack 5 minutes later.
No, you fall asleep during sound check.
Yeah. Yes.
Naughty.
The Scala, that was a long while ago.
Yeah. There's another one, which is, what is the solution to your song, The Riddle, if there is one? That's by Joss, who's here, I think.
I love that question.
That's
Yeah.
a great question.
Yeah, okay, cool. So my name has two meanings. One's literal, one's not. You feel me, you use me, you'll never see me stop.
Mm-hmm.
It's your heart. You literally say, I give you my heart or something, but it's not your heart. Your heart, one meaning's literal, one's not. You can feel it. I can feel it now. And I'm using it all the time, but I'll never, ever, like, when it stops, that's it. I won't be there to know it stopped. So that was the answer to that. There was a few riddles when we did that. We did we did this thing with the album, and it folded over. So you had this like computery code thing. You typed that in, it took you to a page, then it took you to another one, an IP address, yeah. And Luke did all like the IP address and everything, didn't you? And we like spent time making up all these riddles for it and putting it together. It was a really cool idea. It was great for like
make that happen again. We should bring that back. We should like remaster the album and like make more riddles. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, well the thing is, it's great when you've got a good concept. That's like this album we've just done. There's like the In Dreams, like the whole concept, concepts make things really strong, and it's also really good, like lyrically, you know, like I mean we've talked about ciphers and all sorts of stuff, you know, and trying to most lyrics have more than one meaning or two or three things going on. So when I write, usually I try and write with that in mind, or with something which will change it later on. So you might think you're talking about one thing and it changes what it's talking about, or it might be something which feels good but's bad, or bad but's good. It depends, but I do, yeah. It's great. It's fucking music's great, man. It's great stuff.
And then our next question is from Wolfric, and he was asking, what's next for the band? Do you have any festivals, or did you have any festivals booked? And what else? I know you've got the tour next year, don't you? Is there anything else after that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I like that. Yeah, we are. Yeah, there's what's next. Loads of stuff. So we've been in lockdown. We've been writing some new music. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but I just did. So that's going really well.
Yeah, you can, yeah.
I mean, it's like how I would describe that as it. To me, it's like an extension of In Dreams. Like I think we've kind of have this style and this way of like kind of things sound, and we've got at least 3 tracks, you know, out of those songs that we've written that are, I think, are really cool, like really great songs.
Yeah, they are.
And I'm really excited about that. Actually, it's such a shame that we can't play it to you, because I'd love to, because it's just exciting. But in terms of gigs, yeah, like obviously we've got the dates in April at the moment, and we don't, obviously no one knows what's going to happen in terms of, you know, whether or not that will go ahead or not, kind of thing. But we're hopeful that it will. It's still quite a way off, and we don't know what's going to happen between now and then. Obviously, we want you know, everyone to, you know, feel safe and all that kind of stuff, and so we're not going to do anything if it's not right, kind of thing. So we'll push it back again if we have to, but they will eventually happen, and you know, everyone's, you know, tickets are all protected and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just looking forward to when it finally happens. I cannot wait to play again, you know, like just to be in a room with everyone, and just to kind of, you know, someone said a while back, the reunions will be epic, and I think that's really true. I think after all this time of being kind of stuck, you know, indoors, not being able to, you know, feel that energy with a crowd in that way, like I think it's going to be so awesome when we finally get to do that. I think that's going to be amazing. So I just can't wait, really. Hopefully that will be in April, but if it's not, you know, we'll you know, we'll just move them, and everyone's, you know, like I say, everyone who can still make it will you know, be able to hold on to the tickets and all that stuff, and people who can't will get refunds and that. So that's and we'll book more shows in the future anyway. So it's all going to be wicked eventually when we finally can. I just can't wait. And in terms of festivals, yeah, there's one at least that is almost definitely going to happen much later in the year, in 2021. So yeah, so that we're looking forward to that as well. But who knows? I mean, we'd love to. We had a chat with Mr. Download, Andy Copping, about doing Download again, and he was like, you know, this year was already fully booked when we asked him, too late, to be honest. And then obviously they moved the lineup from this year to next year, and all the bands who were already playing, like, you know, just got moved mostly to next year. So so I think it's really unlikely that we'll be doing Download next year, although it's not impossible, but I think it's unlikely. But then it's you know, we don't even know if that's definitely going to happen, kind of thing. Just wait and see, obviously. But we'll keep plugging away for that, because that's such a special festival, I think, for me anyway. Like, I'd love to do that again if it's not if it's not in 2021, in 2022, or whenever, you know, as soon as we can, that'll be ace. And it's just great that, you know, we still have, you know, we're still talking to those people and all that, you know. It's just wonderful. It's so nice. But I think when we do play, you know, I just can't, we're like, internally, if you like, as a band, you know, we're all just like, we can't wait to get in a rehearsal room together as well, not let alone, you know, play live, because that's kind of magical as well for us, you know, when we hit that kind of stride, you know, and when it starts to sound really cool, like rehearsals are really fun. I really enjoy them. It's just so magic, and then we always try and push ourselves to see how we can make it even better, kind of thing. And we're working a lot at the moment on, you know, new sounds and stuff. Like Will, our keyboard player, has just been, you know, working on how, you know, like basically integrating a lot of the kind of the actual sounds that we use for like the older albums, which we've never really quite had live before. And because we've always had them kind of on backing tracks, so we're kind of bringing a lot of those sounds into it. So he's actually playing them on keyboards. And then for the new album, like, you know, just adding, you know, more layers basically in terms of, you know, that are actually in the album. So, and when you start to do all that stuff and you're starting to do it live, it does feel, to me anyway, more exciting. You know, it just gets really wicked. And even in a rehearsal space, you can just get some magic going on. I love that. So I can't wait, really. Yeah. What about everyone else? Toby's got a beer.
No. Well, it's gin, actually. But yeah, sort of. Yeah. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers. We've got a few people asking if you come to the US as well.
Would I bloody love to do that? Do you know what? There's places that we'd love to do, and Japan as well. And there's do you know, it's so frustrating being, you know, like we're not really big enough, and yet we're not small enough, if you know what I mean. We somehow managed to travel all over the place musically, as in it just goes on its own, which is amazing. And we do seem to have a lot of people from all over the world, and we're really, really lucky in that. And yet the downside is that if you really want to travel all those places, you just got to have the money. It's pure and simple. Like, like they don't let you on a plane because you're wicked at guitar. You know, it's sort of sucks a bit, really. I kind of have it in mind that, you know, there's bands out there who play for so many years, then one day it all just cracks and off they go. And, you know, that's kind of how I think it's going to go. I just think one day we'll just write the right song and we'll be able to travel everywhere and play for everyone. And when that happens, I damn well will. And that'll be that.
Yeah, I mean, like it like I think it's been like already. It feels like that's starting to happen already. Like the journey this year, like we had, you know, we went from having we had nearly 1 million streams basically on like all of, like if you combine Spotify and YouTube and all that kind of stuff across all of our albums before we started this campaign, you know, before we started the In Dream stuff, and then in the space of a year, like bear in mind our band's been going since the late 90s, right? So in the space of 1 year, after we put out that album, you know, we had over 1 million streams just on that album alone, you know, and then we had so in total we've had well over 2 million streams, you know, if you count all of our albums.
Yes.
So it just kind of, there was a real feeling of like, it was just an amazing kind of ride really this year. Like it's just really cool, and just all the messages we got, and like particularly when the album came out, you know, and there was like about 1,000 people joining the live stream all in all, like from end to end, like joining in at different times. There's about 200 people at any one time, but I think there's about 1,000 in total, and that kind of was a bit nuts. And then it's kind of, yeah, it was just the whole thing's been crazy, you know, and to sell out, you know, two London shows, and we're on course to sell out most of the tour. Actually, I don't think there's a single date that we don't think will sell out now, which is really cool. You know, I know that at the moment people are not sure about, you know, going.
Yeah, that's with people being not sure.
And we're still even now, like if I go on like Download put out a post going, oh, get your weekend tickets or whatever, and every single comment like this will be cancelled, you know, like, and which I totally get, you know, I understand that. But even despite all that, you know, like yesterday, you know, we sold more tickets. You know, like I just don't. It's so, we're so lucky. Do you know what I mean? I feel so grateful that like that people have just responded and like it's resonated with people. If you know what I mean. We just, for the longest time we were trying really hard. If you know what I mean. And then with this album, it's not that we stopped trying hard, but we just stopped trying to please other people. I suppose if that's the way of putting it, right? You know, and we just wrote from, you know, our heart, if you know. I mean, we've always tried to write honest music, if that makes sense. I don't think that's ever not been true, but I think that we just took time just to do it our way, like how we wanted, kind of thing, and just do it, you know, in a I don't know, the way we wanted, and it just, for whatever reason, that seems to, like I say, resonate with people, which is really ace. And I just hope we can, like the new songs I'm really excited about, because I genuinely, I don't want to say they're better than anything we've written before, because I always think that, but I really, really think that. Like, do you know what I mean? And I'm like, I just can't wait to put out the new stuff because it's so exciting. I don't know, I always think that.
Yeah, they're good fun to play in rehearsal as well, and they've got a really good like vibe and energy to them. So I think that's going to translate quite well live. Just can't wait to like play it to everyone, really.
Yeah,
we
it's gonna
can.
be awesome.
Yeah.
Was on to the next question, funnily enough. It's like, out of all the discography, which songs you love to play, and also is there a song you found hard to write and record? And that's from Gray on Instagram.
Which songs do we love to play?
Yep, and which ones did you find hard to write or record?
I mean, I can think of like half a dozen tracks that have been hard to record. There's always one track, you know, on an album at least. Probably two.
Yeah, there is.
That are just like a slog. They're like, it starts off well, and then it's like, oh, but we just can't quite get this like melody down here or whatever. And then you end up like baffing, for want of a better word, for ages. Like, you know, like that track I mentioned, Breaking Unknown, that had like, you know, 5 or 6 different choruses. I love where it landed in the end. I think I really like that tune. But it's you know,
a lot of that is
hard work to get there.
A lot of that's about writing yourself into a corner. Because what happens is, like musically, you kind of write, you kind of, I don't know how to put it, you write yourself into a corner, you write yourself into a situation where you can't create, like, I don't know, the lift doesn't feel natural, or the next section doesn't fit naturally, and when you write yourself into a corner, sometimes it's hard to get out of it, because you have a root note, or you have something that's already going on, and it sounds good in one place, and you're leading yourself down this path, and you get down the path, and then you kind of hit this brick wall. That does happen occasionally. I would say that the best songs tend to be like really fast and natural, and they just roll off the tongue. They write themselves almost, yeah. Definitely. But so that's, yeah, but best songs for playing live depends on the mood. Like some songs tends to be that the heavier ones are more fun live, and the more energetic songs are more fun live to play. But it also tends to, hey,
always two that stand out for me, because it doesn't matter what the vibe is. If we've got tomorrow,
yeah,
tomorrow, I remember that always goes off.
Builds the energy.
Yeah.
And the other one for me personally is Running Blind. I think the chorus is amazing. It's got a nice build, a guitar solo. Again,
more do you want?
Yeah.
I quite like Miranda and the Tempest. I always find
such a wicked
it, like, especially because Toby gets like everyone up on stage. It's like a real kind of like intimate moment.
That's what I mean about where you just like the gigs, the magic of gigs, like when people come up, when people are there, and like things are just much more like the organic bit is just amazing. That I totally agree with you. Like there's vibes, isn't there?
Yeah.
And he's right, Running Blind spanks. It's good live. It's true. It's funny because what we've definitely got over time is like if I was to say like a set of different rhythms. So because the rhythms run at different paces, you kind of don't, it stops the set being boring.
Yeah.
And so like each song kind of lends itself in a different way to having a good set. One of the problems that you do get also though is that then you get into like, oh, how do you play a song or a set without making it 2 hours long? Because quite frankly, I could play like all the albums back to back and just fucking love it. So exactly. But you'd be there for hours. Like I'd love to just to do that, but at the same breath, do you know what I mean? You just have to pick the songs, and a lot of the time, the way we do that is partially like what we want to play, and then partially like what we notice that people listen to more and things like that. So generally try and play the songs that we think people want to hear. So it's not just like selfishly we want to play this and this. Do you know what I mean? We kind of balance it out. It's a bit of like, oh man, I fancy playing this, yeah, let's do that. And we're pretty good at like listening to each other, and if someone says they want to play something, then letting them play it. And you know, it could be that we might say, oh, we want to play Don't Rely on Anyone, but I want to play the acoustic version because I just fancy doing it, and then we might just do it, you know, like I don't know, you know, we're lucky really because we're all pretty laid back. We've had our moments where we were so intense on everything being like, you know, it's all about success and like other people around you saying you must be successful and da da da. We've been there, you know, like you know, yeah, we'll play Golf Girl, yeah, why not?
Yeah, we'll play Golf Girl, let's do that. Yeah, wicked, done, sold. Let's put it in the set.
Result.
As easy as that.
Sam and Jess, would you guys ever attend NAM? Don't know.
I'd love to go to NAM.
Why not?
Wicked.
Great, we'd love to do that. That'd be awesome. Let's do it.
Jess actually lives in San Diego, so they go to NAM show quite a bit. So full
Cool.
yeah, when you're done.
That'd be wicked to go there.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, wicked. And then next question is, how do you all balance band life / home life, especially when touring? And would you ever do an online event? Like a online concert?
Sorry, what was the first bit? Because it broke up on my phone.
Oh, sorry. How do you all balance band life / home life, especially when touring? And would you do an online event? And that's from Natalie, who's here as well.
It's a lot easier balancing home and gig life now, because well, there's a whole load of reasons. Like when you like me and my missus have been together a long time, so she knows the drill. She totally gets it. It's not a stress. If I don't call because I'm busy, like it's not a problem. But I will always call and make the effort as soon as it's sort of doable. So like my home life is really, really unstressed. You know, I'm lucky. I've got a really, really great family, a really, really easy life, in that way. But if I was to say, the downside is that, you know, I hate money. I hate working. And what I mean by that is not that I don't want to work, but I hate wasting time working, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Work massively for me feels like a complete and utter waste of the short years you get to live. There's, you know, in reality, if you really think about it, from 0 to 20, you're pissing in the wind. You've got no idea where you are. Between there and say, you know, 60, you're like, I know what I want, you know, gonna do stuff. And then 60 onwards, you know, you're into that time in your life where, quite frankly, you know, your friends start having problems and things start going wrong for people and all the rest of it. It feels like such a short period of life. You know, if you've got 40 years of doing what you love, like 40 years is not very fucking long. And it's like, it's hard to even waste 1 minute of one day on something trivial for someone else. And it's, I also understand and I respect the fact that we earn money, we work, we do whatever, I get it, but it feels so tragically wrong for the world and society and everything else. It's just wrong, you know. We should you know, how do you encourage kids? You know, you say you want to do whatever and blah blah blah, but in the meantime you got to go and flip burgers and it's going to be soul destroying for you. And do you know what? Yeah, one of those millions of people who end up doing that will crack it and get out of that into something else. And they'll hold it up in the news and the media and say, this guy went from rags to riches. He's a fucking hero. Look at Mr. Bezos. He's got the biggest company on earth. Isn't he great? No, he's not. He's got all the rice. No one else has got any rice. Fucking, you've seen the rice thing, yeah?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Fucking hell, man. It's just, I watched that and like, oh, Jesus, like, you know, Uncle Roger would be sick. It's just no good, you know? Like, I look at it and I think, God, what am I seeing here? Like, it doesn't make sense. It's almost like, I know I'm going off on one here, but like, it's almost like there should just be a point where you say, you know what, well done, you've won, and that's the game. That game's over. Like, and I mean money and that side of things, and that we should be like encouraging people to do others, because I mean, music's a thing, you know, and it's a great thing and all the rest of it. But there's probably some kid somewhere who's like stuck in some shitty scenario, who's quite frankly capable of terraforming Mars or some shit. Do you know what I mean? And like, but instead he's never ever, or she or whoever. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know I'm using he all the time, but I'm a geezer, so I suppose I think like that. But you know what I mean? Like, it seems archaic and stupid to me to not have that kind of ability or freedom. Like I know that where I'm at is music or art, you know, but like, you know, I understand Boris Johnson wants to do his job, but the guy's not that bright. And I'm not being too unkind when I say that. It's just an observation. Like,
Right, quick, Toby.
No, but yeah, I know we're not getting into politics. What I'm trying to get at is like, is as an observation of people in jobs and people doing what they're doing and all the rest of it. Perhaps we're not all in the right place. Do you know what I mean?
I agree. Yeah.
You know, you said earlier about people going and getting a job and whatever. You know, I feel a lot of my time's wasted. It's just an observation. You know, but I'm smart enough to know that I am wasting that time. You know, but that's just the way life is set up, and it's just the structure we have. The thing is, in a funny sort of way, like, yeah, and I do wonder whether, like, at some point, as I say, I believe at some point we will just turn that corner and it will just go the other way. And we'll be busy and we can go travel the world and play music to everyone. And I'll tell you shitloads of awesome stories about amazing places. You know, yeah, we'll have to make a bigger book. Yeah.
We do volume 1 and go to volume.
Yeah, volume 1, volume 2. Yeah, exactly.
You just keep going.
Yeah. Be like Harry Potter, except, like, you know, instead of the prisoner of Azkaban, lost in China or something, you know. Esoterica, lost in China.
Hilarious. I'd read it.
Yeah, I think it'd just be, it's just, it's a thing.
Definitely. You've got like a side project there then. Definitely.
Yeah, do you know what? I'd need a ghostwriter because I'm so crap at writing. Like, as in, literally, my spelling's abysmal, and my punctuation doesn't exist. And the great thing about the band is when I say to them, you know, I'm thinking about blah 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 blah. They understand. They speak my language. You know. So when we come, so when we come to like make music, and I say I want a sound that's like la 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 la, and we'll go through a thing. You know, I might say like whatever, and they'll literally know it. You know.
Yeah.
You get closer to wanting to do that, Tobias, let me know. The COO of my company, I do all the ghostwriting for him. He can't spell worth a damn. I do all of his ghostwriting. So yeah.
Yeah.
I'll hook you up. Don't worry.
Happy days.
There you go.
Yeah.
Awesome. The book's coming out. It's happening.
That's it. Done.
Can I get a signed copy, please?
Yeah, cool.
I'll give
do you know the dude with the tree, right? the guy who's living in the tree.
Yeah.
He actually legit wrote a book, and the mayor of that town like got the book made into a book. So I gave him a load of merch and he gave me the book, and it's I've got the signed book and it's in Dutch, so I can't fucking read it. But
you think it's in Dutch? It could just be a load of gobbledygook.
It could be, but it's in my I swear it's in my fucking bookcase, mate. I've got it there, and like every now and then I get it out, I look at it and I laugh, and then I put it back. I like pages thinking I can't read any of this shit, and then I put it back. I think
that is my favorite like story. It's fucking mad when you because you disappeared for ages and you came back telling us like I found some deer in the ground and all this kind of stuff.
I know, yeah, it's funny, but there's so many. You know, like when the Germans did the drug test and they were like looking at his eyes and his pupils were dilated, but they've always been like that, and then they're like, oh, it's funny. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Carry on.
Yeah, sorry, sidetracked again.
I like these stories. They're quite cool. Just get a little insight. But yeah, no, it's wicked though.
This is what the fans want, that's for sure.
Exactly. Well, I've got your last question, and then you can out each other.
Yeah, cool.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
Why are you worried?
I don't know. You end up with like a band rift, and I'm just like, I broke up a band.
Yeah.
I don't want that. I don't want that responsibility.
Don't worry.
Yeah. Can you tell us what it was like recording at Abbey Lane and with the orchestra and everything? And that's the last one.
Oh, wow.
Do you know what?
Abbey Road. Yeah, that was amazing.
That was Luke's idea. and it was honestly epic and one of the best moments of my life. But I'm gonna tell you something weird. That room, we walked in the front door. I've been there before because we went there to master an album a long time ago, and we went up into this room somewhere up the top, and they had like, and we did stuff, and it was like a cool day, but it was like a cool thing to do, but it wasn't really like that. When we walked into that room, my skin just stood up, like, you know, like all the hairs stood up as just walking in the room. Like I felt like properly ghosted. Do you know what I mean? Like ghosts creeping through me all over the place. That room is electrifying. It is. It's like it's got to be built on like some magical ley line somewhere weird, and like just walking in that room was weird and wicked. Like watching them bring the music and play it and everything else just literally was like, oh mate, I had tears in my eyes. It was amazing.
Yeah.
But I should let Luke talk a bit because he set it up, or Matt. Is Matt still here?
Yeah, there he is.
Yeah, Matt's here.
Matt, go on, you tell them.
Yeah.
About what? What were you talking about? Abbey Road?
Turn the porn off.
He's halfway through Die Hard.
Hello.
So funny.
Abbey Road? Is that what
Yeah.
About beer and tree, and then you talk about Abbey Road or whatever it was.
Stand up, Matt. We just want to make sure your trousers are still on.
Those great big hands of yours.
The face of guilt, isn't it?
With his little
Never
hand.
have I ever got off a bus in the snow with just a pillow.
And your socks.
Pissed out of my face, trying not to. Yeah. Sorry, go on. Yeah, Abbey Road. It's all yours, Matt.
I couldn't believe it. The moment for me was when we were all stood sort of watching over the orchestra with their sort of first full run through of the score put together, and I think we all just stood, and like I think there was sort of tears starting in all of our eyes, and the hairs on my back of my neck were standing up for sure, and just incredible.
It was amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, I think watching the orchestra play the music for the first time was. I mean, I sort of cried a little bit because I just, you know, because it's just like, I mean, I'd never written music for orchestra before, so it's kind of a bit of a challenge for me anyway. Like I was, you know, it's kind of a weird thing to write because you sort of, you know, you have the orchestra's kind of broken up into sections, and you have to kind of write a part for each section, and each of the sections sort of makes up a chord, and then within that chord you have melodies going on as well. So it's kind of a real challenge really. And then work with this amazing lady called Audrey Riley, who's an arranger. She's
She is awesome.
more brilliant.
Yeah, she's wicked.
Than you know, me anyway. Like definitely, you know, she's worked with Coldplay and Muse and all this kind of stuff. And yeah,
And we had Rich filming. He's made a film called Hosts, which is out. He's actually made a bloody film, and he's done really, really well. It's all over the bloody world.
Yeah. He's
What a
doing really well
dude.
with it, isn't it? Yeah, he's wicked. Super
It
talented.
just suddenly made me think, you know, like we've been surrounded by some awesome people.
I think it's definitely like
absolutely.
one of the main reasons we do it, isn't it? Like the people you meet and the experiences you have with those people. Like,
oh, definitely. It's like having a big family, isn't it? Really, and it's like so many gigs. You know, all the people that come up and chat, and like you just see a lot of the same people, like again and again, and you always get new faces as well. It's wicked when that happens, and but it's just so nice to just catch up with people and see how people are doing, and like and it's just amazing. I'm gonna answer some things that are on the chat here because I know some people posted questions. I'm not sure if maybe they came in a bit too late for the competition thing. So but we didn't.
Anybody who put a question added into it anyway, so it's fine. You
Oh,
need to
bless you. Well, I just didn't want to not answer those as well. So so we'll try and be quick, right? So
I'll be right back, guys. Sorry.
You had a hiatus.
Cool.
Why and what inspired the comeback? So we had a hiatus. Yeah, we kind of burnt out a bit, really, a couple of years ago. Whatever, we'd kind of done this big old Manson tours and that, and you know, like there's everyone in life has ups and downs, right? You know, and we're no different to everybody else, you know. And like we did that first Manson tour. I remember especially, you know, we'd been out on tour for 3 months. It was ridiculous. We played to like, I think it was about 250,000 people or something over the course of that tour, you know, and like big arena shows and all that, and it was amazing. And then like the sort of, if you like, the come down after that tour, you know, was kind of quite bad, really, you know, like we sort of we came home and kind of nothing happened for a couple of months, and it was a bit sort of like, you know, it was a bit of a downer basically. And then you know, sort of a bunch of other things happen really in life. I won't bore you with the details, but it was kind of, you know, everyone has ups and downs really. I think we just sort of burnt out. We were a bit tired and you know, all the rest of it. So we kind of went our separate ways for a bit. But I think like with all these things, you can't, you know, like I said earlier, music's in your soul. You know, you can't leave it alone for long. And we are kind of bonded to each other really in many ways as people. There's some magic about the you know, the when these particular people get together, if you know what I mean, and make music and whatever. So it was always inevitable. It was never going to be long before we got back together. So what inspired the comeback? Love of music, frankly, and each other, you know, if you know what I mean. Like it was never going to be that long before we eventually went, you know, I went away traveling for a bit, and I was like, I found myself like just wandering around, like, you know, looking for a drum kit, you know, like it's in your blood. Do you know what I mean? So that's that one. What new venue have you sourced for the Manchester gig? The new venue for the Manchester gig is the same venue as the old Manchester gig, which is the Deaf Institute. Yeah, so the Deaf Institute was going to close. It was then rescued by a wicked company who were fantastic, and now isn't going to close. I still believe that's the case, and we certainly would. Last time we were in touch with them, which wasn't that long ago, they were like, yeah, let's do it. Cracking venue, so I'm really excited about that. And you know, it's almost a symbol of lockdown for me as well. This kind of like, you know, everything's gone shit and all this kind of stuff, and that's one of those little success stories in amongst all this kind of horrible, you know, write-off year, frankly. So I can't wait to get to that venue and actually do a magic thing in there, I hope. Saw you I saw you play for almost 3 hours at New Crossing in December 2010. Have you ever played longer than 3 hours? I mean, I genuinely don't know what day it is, so I couldn't tell you the answer to that question. I don't know if anyone else knows. Anyone else know if we played longer than 3 hours? I don't think so.
No, but what I would say is we will play until we're kicked off pretty much once we get going. so it's a hard one to answer, but as I say, I'd love to play much longer than 3 hours. Quite frankly,
I do remember at the start of lockdown, we were sort of like putting a set list together of sort of the favorite songs that go down well live and things that the fans like. And I think Luke put like a time frame up. I had a look, and it was sort of like an hour and 48 minutes, and it was meant to be a sort of quick set.
yeah. You know,
like
it's not
playing. What can we say? We do like playing generally. I mean, I'm normally the miserable one who's like, come on, we got to go. Like, you know, I don't know, parking meters run out or something, whatever. What someone else said, this is Devon said, hey Devon, what is your favourite wow moment from being in the band? One moment that made you stop and just think wow about how far you come, where you were. For me personally, like, I was thinking, it's kind of related earlier to a best gig. I always think about gigs are always the most important thing to me, really, in terms of my wow moments. And the first really big gig we ever did was at the Hammersmith Apollo, sold out, supporting him.
I was going to say that.
And to me, that was, it wasn't a wow moment, but it was just like wow's not really the right word. It was like it was just like my mouth was probably like open at first, just like you know, and then when the crowd started cheering, and that is deafening. You know, I'll never forget the first time I heard that. You know, and then I've got a stupid grin on my face. I'm like, you know, walking out on stage, like trying to be cool, like, you know, goth and whatever.
Yeah.
and just with a stupid grin on my face, I just never forget that. So I'm not sure I'd call it wow, but that's the best way that I could try and answer that question. I don't know what anyone else thinks.
No, I agree with you. I was going to say the same gig, because I just remember thinking, shit, we've made it, but obviously that's not really true. It's just the way it is, It's you've just
someone else. They've made it for the night, didn't we? Really?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but you know what I mean. It's like you because you're inexperienced, I suppose. You kind of feel like you've landed, and it's just. But it is that moment where you cross over from being, a small band into a professional band, and then you wake up the next morning and you're still in your normal house with your shit clothes and your.
Yeah, but we're lucky though, because there's been so many of those amazing moments.
We have. Yeah. We're weird because we crossed that line so many times. It's been great, and this is why I kind of think we will just crack it. It's just a case of, it's not a case of when, or if, it's when, if you know what I mean. It's just at some point something will just go, because I just think, you just do what you love, and then eventually life will be, won't it?
Yeah.
Loz said, would you ever play someone's wedding if they requested you? I've written 2 pieces of music for people's weddings before, from like family members.
Yeah, Toby, I've written a piece of music for a wedding and all.
Toby, you played at someone's wedding, right? Once?
Yeah, I can't remember. I've done all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
The answer is, of course we would. We'd do anything. We're mad, aren't we, really? Would there be cake? Yeah, good question, Cloud. Yeah. Is that it? Did we get them all?
I think you did.
Yeah, man. Okay, you're just trying to put off this. Would you ever? Have you ever? What have you done, Luke?
It's not too bad. Not too bad.
Yeah. Go on then.
Ace. Go team. Thanks so much for joining, everyone. This is cool.
Oh,
I'm looking forward to the Never Have I Ever now. Then that's good. Never have I ever played this game is true. There you go. I drink.
Yeah,
that,
exactly.
Right?
Yeah. So if you've never ever played this game, you're supposed to drink if you never have ever played it, aren't you?
I'm not going to say you have to drink, because I don't want you to kill anybody with alcohol poisoning. But if you want to drink, you can do. But
no. You don't understand the rules of the band.
Everyone's got to join in.
You have to drink.
Shall we do the giveaway quickly and I'll announce the winner?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, go for it.
Yep. What are you holding up there, Scottie?
It's the wheel of names, and I've put everybody's name who asked the question in it. I've been compiling them for the last couple of days. So all I have to do is spin it, and then I can announce it live.
I love that. That's so cool.
Yep. Are you ready?
Okay. It's exciting.
I can't see. It's spinning.
Oh, yeah.
Who is it?
Yeah, we can't read who it is, Scottie.
It's Devin. I know who it is.
Devin, you win. Congratulations.
It is Devin, though. It's definitely Devin. I've screenshotted it.
Devin. Awesome.
Well,
we'll send you a message or something and get in touch and, send you some stuff, whatever you want.
Yeah. Are they here? Are they still here? I know they were. Yeah, they're still here. Yep. Devin's still here.
Days.
Well done. Yeah. Wicked. Oh, I'm really chuffed. Okay. So are you drinking for you never have I ever? Are you?
Yeah. We're drinking.
I'm ready. I'm drinking. Yeah. There's not much left though. To be honest, I've already had 2 pints.
If you're sick, just mute you and kick you out.
No, it's fine. Don't worry. Just get on with it. Let's do this thing. Let's find out how bad he is.
Okay. Never have I ever had a fan's underwear thrown at me.
Oh, blimey. What, on stage? Or like,
yeah.
I mean, that hymn gig, I'm pretty sure that was like, there was,
yeah,
I think that was the thing, yeah.
Oh.
Hang on. Never have I ever. Does that mean if you haven't?
You have to drink if
you
it's happened.
have had it, yeah. If it has happened, you've got to drink. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's happened.
I know that's happened.
Kept him.
Well, ironically, a little while later on, I was in my car, and I was trying to clean the window, and I was looking around for like a cloth, and then like I found these pants and I thought, well, where the fuck did they come from? But I know they came from a gig, and like I was wiping like the water off the front of the car with like someone's knickers. Legit, that's a true story. Yeah, it's just the way it goes.
I hope they were dry.
Well, they weren't when I was wiping the window because the window was wet. It was like winter time. You know how the window starts to get a bit wet.
Oh wow.
I know. I tell you, weird shit happens in life. It's crazy. I'm going to be crap at Never Have I Ever, aren't I?
I hope you've got enough booze.
Never have I ever.
Never have I ever signed a fan's body part.
Oh, for God's sake.
I'm gonna be drunk.
I'm actually going to get another one. Go on.
Have I ever signed a fan's body part? Was that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, what sort of body part?
Doesn't matter.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah. All right.
Have you? When never have I ever signed. Never have I ever autograph been made into a tattoo. So like anything that you've signed as your autograph from a tattoo.
We've got there's a lot of logo
you know what?
tattoos, isn't there?
Mm.
Yeah, you've got seen like logo tattoos.
Loads of logo tattoos.
Yeah.
Not like signature tattoos though. I don't think so.
Not that we're yeah.
Not that you know
Actually, Toby, do you know if we met them in Carcassonne? Actually, they flew. They lived not too far from us.
Cock block cloud.
I was going to say that.
Thanks.
Sorry.
I'm pretty sure you signed their arm, and I think they might have got it done because they had a list of all their favorite musicians. They had Manson on there, and again, I think you signed their arm. I don't know if they got a tattoo of it.
Oh, well, there you go.
I'd have to check that one.
maybe, and maybe then. You have like a sip for that one. So it's like maybe.
Yeah, well, I just did for the cock blocking, but I'll do that as well.
We all need to drink that.
I was dragged away with my foot.
I know, yeah.
Yeah. Never have I ever been kicked out / been asked not to return to a venue for my bad behaviour.
Oh. Do you know what? I've been really lucky because I've always been in a band. So basically, I've always been all right. But Matthew has been refused entry to bars because he's drunk too much. And I've had to sort him out, getting him into bars. So never have I ever been refused entry. Yes, you have, Matthew.
I don't remember that.
You were drunk.
D5.
That's brilliant. Where we
Come
at?
say hi if you want. Oh, okay. My son's come into the room. He's looking at me like, never have I ever. So he wants to see what I've never ever had.
Blackmail material on Dad. Perfect.
Yeah, yeah, damn right. It's good. It's good.
Never have I ever put weird things on a rider for a laugh.
Oh yeah.
Weird things on a.
I think that's like a given, isn't it? Like the first time you get a rider, you think, I'm gonna just ask you this.
Yeah. Where does this end?
That's a non-conversation.
We get away with, yeah.
I know, yeah.
It's expected nowadays, yeah.
Yeah. Does anybody want to say what they did put on the rider for a laugh?
Oh Jesus, I don't even know.
I mean, to be honest, right? It's not like it's probably not anything offensive or funny, but it'll be stuff like obscure like sweets, and stuff like that. Like things that clearly.
Yeah, because the thing is, the best way to put it is like, you got to think we have been doing this for quite a long time, so the rider's really boring after a while. Like a long time ago, when we first started getting a rider, we would have been. I know that we put all sorts of stupid shit on there, but like now it's pretty much like some beer or some rum or something. There's nothing that or maybe some fucking sandwiches. I remember being in like, yeah, I know, yeah. Like when we went to when we went to we were traveling around, and when we were traveling around, like I had no money. So before I went on tour with Manson, I had 60 quid, and we're away for a month. So I gave my missus 60 quid, like she's, you know, got our baby, and I said, here's all my money. I'll see you when I get back. And knowing full well the mortgage was going to bounce and everything else while I'm away, and just thinking, well, I'll just worry about it when I get back. And so basically, with no money, you go round like eating people's leftover sandwiches. so after a while, it's like, I'll have some, you know, some beers, and I'd want some oranges and some sandwiches. And do you know what I mean? Like, like you try and make it so that it doesn't cost you anything to tour, because otherwise everyone else is sitting in a nice restaurant eating food and you're not.
Yeah,
we're definitely like indie in that way, aren't we? Like to the extreme. Like think about the albums we've made, even like you just think, how the bloody hell did we do that, you know? You just think, on a shoestring. Like even the one, like you think the video for Humanity, right? That's, I don't know if anyone's seen that, but it's like, it's quite epic looking video, you know? And like we had to do that quite cheaply, really. We get like EasyJet flights, you know, and luckily like to hire a drone out there is quite cheap. So like we managed to hire a drone, and that's basically what makes it look amazing. No, that's not quite true.
And and like that's pretty much why it was just you, me, and Rich, because you're talking about the amount of money to do the flights, plus the amount of like just everything. It just, in an ideal world, what we would have done is got ourselves all out there, you know, got some helicopters to get us up the mountains and done some epic for the whole band. But as it is, you know, like we didn't have that because we just couldn't afford to do it. We spent a day walking up the hill, and you know, a day walking down the hill, sort of thing, or half a day up, half a day down, and you know, carrying gear. It's amazing. I felt like a real adventurer, but
you didn't take me.
Yeah, my boys are saying I didn't take him. Yeah, I didn't. Yes, they all looked at me afterwards like, you're evil for going away without us. Should we move on?
yeah. Never have I ever stage dived and been dropped.
Oh Jesus! I've done so many stage dives over time. I've been dropped. I've been half dropped a bunch of times.
I think that counts.
Yeah, I've already had a sip anyway because I was thinking about it and just thinking, probably. I've been punched while stage diving and crowd surfing. Yeah, all sorts of shit, you know, like, you know. Unfortunately, when you do that, you kind of are at the mercy of the crowd, aren't you?
I think you have to, it's a special kind of bravery or craziness. I don't think I could do it. I'm like,
Did they ever try and like take your wallet or anything while you're stage diving?
No, well, generally, when you do that, like, I don't have anything on me, do I? Because I'm playing a gig. So, like, if I walked around with big fat pockets, I'd probably be struggling and rip my trousers or something. Because
he doesn't even wear shoes or socks. I mean, he's not going to carry a wallet on him.
I would hope not.
Yeah. Half the time, I've only literally, got the trousers.
You'd probably be given a $5 to get another shoe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, people probably feel sorry for me, innit?
Oh, bless you.
Jim has to get going. He's asking for a group wave from everybody if we could. Have a good one, Jim. Be well, sir.
Thanks for joining.
Okay, never have I ever fallen off the stage.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have to go and get another drink.
Yeah, more than one. I mean, yeah, that's pretty normal, isn't it? I think.
I've counted all mine up. I've fallen over 3 times. One to which I just laid down and finished the song there.
Styled it out.
Yeah.
I'm back.
Hi.
Never have I ever. Hello
Never
there.
have I ever been the reason a gig started late.
Toby.
Yeah.
That's not true.
Other side of the
Toby.
bloody, of the other side of the room.
I'll tell you what.
Where's Toby?
Yeah.
Where's Toby? Yeah.
Yeah. No, I did.
That's
I
usually-
come. Do you know what?
That's-
While we're at it, never have I ever pressed play while no one else was ready, and someone's going for a piss out the back.
Sorry about that.
I'll never
PGD.
forget. You know, I was halfway through going for a piss, and the fucking soundtrack started playing, and I was like, Jesus Christ! Like, faster! You try and do that and wash your hands, and then run out the side, just in time. Evil git.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, we had a bass player once that went to the wrong venue. That was touch and go.
Oh, that was epic! Yeah, he was in the wrong town.
Absolutely.
She had
miles
that
as
one.
well.
She had that question coming.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine. I was like, never have I ever shown up to the wrong venue, so it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
We've actually done that as a band before as well. To be fair, that
Yeah. And we left the same bass player in Spain once as well by mistake. Well, it was his fault. He fell asleep.
It
on
was
the
his
flight.
fault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, that was good.
Never have I ever drawn on a bandmate while they were sleeping.
I ever done what?
Yeah, I think so.
Drawn on a
Drawn on a
bandmate.
bandmate while they're sleeping. I mean, Cloud's probably been victim to that. Have you? I mean,
That's just band
On Luke.
101, isn't it?
I think I drew on Luke with
yeah.
when we were in LA.
Matthew, if you drew on someone, it was probably a penis, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's like the same thing you draw on people, isn't it, when they're sleeping?
That's all Matthew does. Matthew's quite an artist.
I'm calling.
If I take him out in my car ever, and then like 6 months later there's like a steamy day, suddenly Matthew's art appears all over my car.
Remember, he always used to do that on your mum's car as well.
Oh, he's done all sorts of
Just get in your mum's car and then just,
yeah.
a little chap.
Mm.
I remember we had a guitarist session on a tour with us, and on the tour bus they fell asleep and
Oh, God, yeah.
have a pen to hand, but they had their noise cancellation headphones in,
Oh no.
and it had a headphone jack which wasn't plugged into anything. And
Yeah.
I thought, into my phone it went, the loudest song I could find, heaviest, scariest thing. Put it in there, and all of a sudden you just see him do this.
That was so cruel.
Yeah.
Just doing the nodding dog just before as well. Like,
Yeah.
Mm.
The rule of thumb is never go to sleep around bands then.
Yeah.
especially around
Oh, yeah.
Toby.
Never have I ever given someone a black eye. That could be on stage, off stage. You know?
I've
Hmm.
nearly been given a black eye by your headstock club many times.
Yeah.
I
I'm
get
sorry,
quite nervous playing on the same side as you sometimes.
So can you go stand over there with Matt?
Yeah. Could go away.
The bass will sound better with you over there.
Yeah, it is a bit nerve-wracking sometimes. You need that to move. Maybe one day it will happen.
I really hope not.
Oh no.
The wrath that will come after.
Yeah. I think we've
I've
been
hit
pretty
Toby
lucky
a few
there.
times.
Yeah,
I hit Toby a few times, but no black eyes.
I think
No,
we've been lucky so far, considering.
no, never on stage. I have off stage, but that's you don't sort of get your black belt and kung fu without punching a few people, and along the way you do punch a few people. So I have given more than a couple of black eyes in the past year.
Got a couple left, guys. Don't worry.
Go
Never
on.
have I ever been in handcuffs.
That's
Yeah.
Specify like why.
Yes, these are open to interpretation, of course. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, legit.
that
yeah.
that one
Stories
night
are optional but encouraged.
Yeah. Oh Jesus, we're just up the rating of this program, but yes.
Well, I mean, I used to work for Ann Summers. That's the only reason I've actually worn a handcuffs, because you know, like to.
I love it.
You know, 'cause they just
Try
like
them
in
out
the office
just to
and-
see
well,
what
yeah,
it was
you
like.
just, I wonder if you can get them off. And
They
they've
do
got-
all sorts of Ann Summers, Luke.
They've got like they've got a latch so you can undo them. So it's like, you know,
They do actually, yeah.
yeah. See,
You know,
There you go.
moving on.
This one time at band camp.
Nice, Stacey. Very nice.
Yeah, legit. Yeah.
Oh my god, these are wicked. This is a good idea. Never have I ever passed out backstage. Doesn't have to be drunk. It could just be.
Cloud.
Cloud?
Cloud, you're going to need more drinks.
Never have I ever passed out on stage, mate.
I still have the photo if anyone wants to.
Yeah. You should set it as your
Yeah,
background.
Definitely make it your background. Yeah.
I was worried you were going to set that picture you had earlier with me with black eyes.
Yeah.
On time.
Yeah.
You're a good sport though, Cloud. I have to say. There was what didn't you do the was it the cinnamon challenge once, or was it
Black pepper
Oh,
challenge.
peppercorn.
oh, pepper?
What, in the potato shop?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you're
Oh,
a
it was a
potato
potato
shop.
That was fucking nuts.
Le Patatterie.
Yeah.
Oh,
We
you're a
thought
potato
it was a
shop.
bean.
I know, because we all thought it was a bean. We all thought it was like some Mexican place, didn't we?
Yeah.
And suddenly we realised that everything was chips.
Yeah, we realised that when she went potatoes.
Is that what she said?
You had to eat like a tablespoon of black pepper. Did you? Is that what it was? Or no?
Yeah, so it was like a tablespoon of peppercorns. I left my wallet in my other pants, and it was like, well, I'll pay for it. That was Tom doing lights, wasn't it? I'll pay for your meal if you eat this. Oh yeah.
I have that
Rather
video
than do
as well.
dishes.
You get bullied the most, though, Cloud. I don't know why that is.
Got videos on YouTube if anyone wants to see that as well.
Is it? Yeah, I bet it is.
Yeah, we'll get links.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's brilliant. And
Poor Cloud.
what a good one. Where's it gone?
The banana has to get going.
Oh, wicked
Yeah.
costumes. Love it.
Bye.
I found it. Never have I ever had my luggage searched and had something embarrassing in my suitcase. Bonus points if it was somebody else who put it in there for you.
Oh, don't give them ideas.
Well,
You're welcome.
Do you know what? That is an epic idea.
Especially
That was the point of the question.
I think it's because we mostly pack up individually, and then
Yeah.
we sort of meet up in a location. So there's never been the opportunity, but now there's the plan.
Yeah. I love it. It's a great idea.
And then your last one. Never have I ever thrown up on a bandmate.
Oh god.
there was this horrific night. Do you remember, like, was it New Year's one time? And
Oh, I'd probably have to drink.
yeah, there was this time actually. And oh no.
I'd forgotten about that.
You were really well. We were all quite drunk actually, you know, and it's quite interesting because, like, you know, we don't really get horrendously drunk before we play because, you know, it's not the best thing, right? You know, it doesn't result in the best performance, you know. But like, it's quite interesting to see people in the band like who kind of can still play, who can still play really well even when they're like really trash. What did you say?
Into the TV.
I remember Luke at Bloodstock grew up in the back of the van.
Oh yeah, I better drink.
Yeah,
And
I
then- and
remember that.
And then
The
didn't
band
Barry
stopped
end up
moving.
in
We
your
were still talking
trousers?
for about 6
Yeah,
hours.
Barry was in my trousers. I woke up on a sofa. Well, I know. Hang on. No, I was on a flag. I was wrapped in a flag on a sofa in the back of our van, and that sofa or the flag were not there before we got there. So I don't know how any of that happened.
Was that with Connor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
How was it?
remember there was a camera. I
Barry
remember watching
being
the
in your
footage back.
trousers wasn't there. That was at the Reaper barn.
Was it?
Yeah, that's when Barry met the 2 prostitutes.
But hang on though. But the sofa and the flag and the vomiting and all that other horrendous stuff was definitely Bloodstock. And 'cause
Which
I
was
remember because
when they
there was
had
a
like
camera.
you went off and came back with someone's cooler full of beer.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Oh God, and I'm
That
like
was
the
fucking
nerdy one. I
funny.
don't normally do this sort of thing, but on that
You
day,
came back, you were like, I've got fuck off. What about the
Oh.
cheese?
Oh, the cheese. I suppose, yeah.
Luke's a bit of a thief. when
I'm
He
he
went
needs
out,
to.
he came back with
I'm
a
getting
cheese
busted
that was
here.
about this big.
Oh yeah, woke up
He
with
came back
some
with-
cheese one time, didn't I? And some clogs as well. I don't know where they came from either. Where was that? That must have been like near the Netherlands.
Do you know what? All I remember about that place was the guy who was serving the bar said like he was going to bed or something, and he left, and I just kept leaning over the bar and carrying on filling up the beers.
Oh no!
Like I became the barman for a bit.
Oh no! Yeah,
But
that was bad. That was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember, Matthew? Do you remember the man repairing the door to the hotel?
Oh my God.
What? What is this about?
So
What?
when
Matthew, never have I ever broken a hotel door.
Yeah, I didn't pick back into the hotel because I was that drunk. So I've tried pushing it a few times. So rather than that's not been successful, so I've just taken a few steps back and just sort of like Bruce Lee flying kick through the door, gotten through the door, and then realised coming through a little slide, just ran stuff, like slightly.
Was this on tour with Manson?
No, this was in Madrid, I
Oh.
think it was.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Matthew! Never have I ever bruised a girl's boobs.
Those boobs. Never.
I love it, Matt, because your microphone keeps cutting out. It's like when you go and like order a McDonald's or something, and kind of like they read your order back to you. So you want Big Mac meal. That's like you right now. So you're just like boobs. That's like the whole sentence.
Oh my God.
I've got stuff going for like the next 2 days, but then after I get back from that, Tobias, I'm reaching out to you. We got to write this book. This book has to happen. After these stories, this book has to happen.
Oh,
It's gonna happen.
yeah, I think so. I think you're right.
It does. I'd buy it.
This
We haven't
material
even
is genius.
started yet either. Honestly, we've only scraped the surface. I'm telling you, it's like
Yeah, some of the stuff that's happened to us has been ridiculous, but it is that moment where you get somewhere and you just think, oh my God, what next? You just don't know what to expect next. Like we went to, where did we go to? That wasn't Belgium. No, Belgium had the champagne that wasn't champagne because they weren't allowed to call it champagne. And Adi fell on the floor. Adi was this like he was our tour manager, but he's a big geezer. He's like bigger than me, and like he basically got pissed on champagne, and he speaks wonderful French. So he was like sort of helping us out and trying to pick him up off the floor. I just couldn't do it. And then we got to this point where we were like, we've got to go back home. And we've gone back. And he was already back there asleep on the bus. And then like, Matt, I could tell some stories about Matt. Never have I ever, what can we say about Matt? Never have I ever been terrified by a pregnancy test.
I think everybody's been terrified about pregnancy tests.
Life-changingly terrified.
Toby,
no, okay,
never have I ever mocked up a fake pregnancy test using Photoshop.
Guilty. I feel like I've got to take one for the team there. Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah. Never have I ever spent. Oh, it's a shame that Baz isn't here because we could really never have I ever him a lot.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Do you remember that fucking sex show?
The sex show, yeah, that was wicked. I hope he's, yeah.
I wonder if he's watching.
In a way, I don't want to, you know. Yeah, never have I ever. Yeah, done that. What else did he do? He's like, I don't know.
Scottie, we didn't even need to come up with questions. We needed to just start the game and just hand it to them. They're way better than this than we are.
Yeah. That's it. We just
off and just chucked it and just like go.
yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, have fun. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Just let them go. I don't know. There's been never have I ever taken medication and ended up all over the place. Like, you know, yeah. That's
I had
on you, Cloud. Come on.
This is definitely some material.
I mean,
for
I
the-
don't remember it, so I can't drink. But allegedly,
mate,
I fell out of the van.
Allegedly,
Oh,
you definitely
God.
Allegedly.
Van.
right in front of the
Allegedly,
police as
you
well.
fell out of
Yeah,
the van,
yeah.
Allegedly,
Oh, in front of the
condescendingly
police.
laughed at a French police
Yeah.
officer.
Never
They
have
come
I
over.
ever.
They were coming over to. I think we left quite quickly because we thought that was not amazing.
Like, Cloud, get back in
Never
the
have I ever.
Dragging him back into the van.
Nothing to see here.
That definitely happened.
Oh, what else was there? Never have I ever had a private stripper
Oh, Christ.
backstage.
Courtesy of another band member.
I do actually.
Come on, Cloud.
I didn't think didn't want to risk it and chuck it out there, but you know, you seem up for it.
Yeah. Never. What else can we never have I ever? Because
Never-
so basically, to cut a long story short, I'll tell you how that story came about because it was just funny, right? So we're on
Yes,
tour,
please. Yes, please.
and Mr. Cloud is like, how do I put it? He's very green. It's early days, right? And what he doesn't get is like, yeah, it's true though, isn't it? You know, like he's a different animal now. But
Sweet. Thanks, bro.
So early days, and he's like, he's trying to talk to girls, you know, like just to say hi and blah blah blah, and he's flirting and he's like doing whatever he's doing, you know. And so we started this game, cock block. So we're gonna cock block Cloud every time he does it. Doesn't matter who he's talking
My
to.
favourite tour game.
It was a great tour game. So we'd go along, and we got other tour games, but this game was like, so we would like wait until he starts chatting to a girl, and then we'd go up and we'd literally physically pick him up and run him away shouting cock block, or we'd run over and say, your wife's on the phone, cock block, or whatever, you know. So we'd do all these different things to him. Anyway, so it gets so far into this tour, and he's like, fucking hell, man, you bastards are like killing me, like, you know. And he was feeling a bit down in the dumps. So I'm standing in the audience at one of the gigs, and I'm like chatting to this. He's chatting to this girl, and like I started talking to her, and I found out that she was a stripper. So I've said to her, look, you know, we've been bullying him for like all this part of the tour because it's like one of his first tours, blah blah blah. And I hope Cloud's not like disappeared now. I'm going to just make sure he's not looking really pissed off and,
No, he's still there.
and waving sweary
Still
fingers
Crying
at me.
into his hands.
Yeah, exactly. He's thinking shit, you know, you bastard. So then, like, I've said to this girl, like, would you mind, like, helping me repair my bridge with my brother, and you know, give him a private show? So she did, and he came out of there. He was so happy. He was like saying what a cool guy I was.
Yeah, exactly like that. I came out there with fits of rage. So what made it worse was okay. Had that been as smooth as you'd think, like I might have sat there and enjoyed the presence of this young lady. However, it's very hard to do it when 15, 20 foot away, you've got Toby spying through a door going, hey.
We were trying to film. We were horrendous. Do you know what? What about the other? So there's another tour game we had, which was we'd go to like shops and try on the clothes in different countries. But like try and like, so Barry was wicked at it.
Yeah.
He would go off and come back with like scarves and hats and look like a completely different character. It was amazing. We just like, but yeah, there was like so many stupid things we'd do, you know, like you'd go and think, oh, we're gonna try, I don't know, you go to places, I don't know, like
going to Germany and trying on lederhosen or something.
yeah, fucking right on, you know, like
you've got to like grab the entertainment when you can when you're on tour, because like you're just like on a bus for so long, so kind of
never have I
make
ever
up
got
silly
my
games.
kid cousin kicked out of a sex shop. Yeah, that was funny. That was cool. You know, there's so many, honestly, you get out there, you go around places, and some of the things you see and do is so funny. And they're like, one of the things that happen, especially with bands, like, you know, drugs are very prevalent, and people are like, oh, you should try this, you should try. That's the worst thing you can do. Because the thing is, when you go, like when you go to Germany, it's different from when you go to Spain. It's different from when you go to, do you know what I mean? And you don't know these people. So when I went to America, we had these, like, we went to this, place, and we were like, oh, you know, we were staying in the orbit. We called it the Horbit because because it was a bit like, you know, everyone was sharing different rooms and whatnot.
I think we can make the connection.
So we arrived there. Yeah, I know. We arrived there and we're like, oh, you know, we want some weed. And we were like, where are we going to get some weed? So we're looking around, and I was sitting in this room, and they had like a little pool table and whatever. And then along comes the janitor, you know, and I'm looking at him and I'm thinking, man, you've got some, you know where it is. So I've gone up to him, I was like, dude, like, have you got any weed? And he was like, definitely no. Like, he's saying, like, I don't have any. And I was like, mate, you can't kid a kidder. Like, I know you've got some. And he was like, all right, come with me. So we've gone around the corner, and he's like pulled out a half-smoked spliff out of his pocket, and we've sort of had a little smoke. And then we bought some. and then Charlie made the Tornado El Fuego. So it was like, you know, we're trying to make a foot-long spliff. And this is in Hollywood, so that was kind of cool. And it's another one of those I think I've arrived moments. And then, but what we didn't know was this thing was like laced with horse tranquilizers. And oh my God, the first 5 minutes I was fine. By the time they'd made it, I was annihilated. And of course, after that, it was like, be very careful with that, because you don't know. When you go to these, like, you go to other countries, you just don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Crazy world.
Yeah.
Well, I don't do any of that anymore because I'm very mature. Got children.
And I'll be the first to admit the U.S. is all kinds of screwed up. I'm not going to argue that in the slightest.
No, it legit has. It's really interesting though, because like when I say the differences are massive. Like some guy tried to mug me when I was there. I went into a bar, not into a bar, into like a 7-Eleven type thing. And I walked in there and I bought like a crate of beer, and I had I don't know, I want to say like $100 on me or something, which was basically my money for the whole time. And I've walked out the door, and there's this like geezer standing there, and he's like, now I look back, clearly a crackhead or something. And he's like, give me your money. And I was like, no. And he was like, give me your beer. And I was just like, fuck off. And my immediate, like, being, when you're in London, I've had 3 people try and mug me, and 3 times it's failed. And so I just thought, mate, if you, like, no. And the next morning I've gone to this thing, and this guy, like the director, has turned around and said, mate, if someone tries to ask you for something in America, you just say yes. Because they have guns.
Yes. Yeah.
And I just didn't clock it at all. Because I didn't think, I'm in America, they have guns. I just thought, I'm not giving you my beer, pal. Like, it's so like the world culturally is so different. You don't realize until you've been there a few times. You've seen like Germany. Germany's all kinds of depraved. It's brilliant. There are some really, really amazing places, and we've been to bars and places that were just, you know, you could do a book on Germany, mate. It's awesome. But it's but you know, like I've watched a leather-clad Elvis sing songs, and I mean properly leather-clad, leather chaps, you know, like, you know, drinking beers, watching him, and literally the night before the Arctic Monkeys were in the same bar watching someone else. And like the Elvis wasn't just Elvis, it was Elvis, and then there was like a double bass player with him. Matt, you were there, weren't you?
Yeah, it's a crazy bar. It's wicked. Yeah.
What was the bar called? Was it called White something? White stuff? White trash?
White trash.
Yeah. And that was like near Checkpoint Charlie, wasn't it?
Mm.
There's been some wild and crazy places we've been to.
I bet.
Yeah.
White trash bar. Yeah, that's got all kinds of jokes written all over it right there. Yeah.
Mate, it was run by an American.
Enough said. Yeah.
It was. Do you know, and it's funny as well, because like another time we bumped into an American was in Spain. So I go to this place in Spain, and we're like it's in the morning, and I wake up in the morning and I go to get a coffee, and we just go down the road. We bump into this guy, and he's like got this little place that he's got with his Spanish girlfriend, and we just started chatting. And 2 or 3 coffees later, in the bar, and the bill was nothing, because he was just really happy to talk to someone who was talking in English, blah blah blah. And when he found out about the Manson thing, we were in this place playing. It was great. In fact, that was like when we got the wine. Do you remember the wine? You didn't go, did you? Did any of you guys go to the vineyard? No. Oh, geez, the vineyard was great. So get out one morning, we're like, what are we going to do? Because we got like a day to kill. Because trouble with music is very like, hurry up and wait. You arrive somewhere, and when you arrive there, you've got to be in the venue at, say, like 4 o'clock, ready, set up, and then you just sit and wait and do nothing. So we arrive at this venue, or we arrive in the town, but we've got the morning to kill. So we go to this vineyard, and we ask for like a tour of the vineyard, and we go try some wine. And then we start chatting to the guy who runs it about, oh yeah, he's like, why are you here? And we're like, well, we're on tour with Marilyn Manson. We're doing this, that, and the other. And we get to the end of this thing, and he's like, come with me. So we go with him. He goes into this room, and I shit you not, there are thousands of bottles of wine. And he starts walking around and pulling bottles of wine out of all these things. And we walk away with like 5 or 6 boxes of wine. He just starts filling boxes with wine. And he's like, you know, it's a gift. So we were like, come to the gig. Well, later on that evening, he turns up with his wife at the gig. It was awesome, but it was great. I mean, some of these wines, there were like fortified wines, and also it's brilliant.
Yeah.
This is what I love about touring. I love the fact that you literally, I couldn't tell you what's going to happen, but I know that if you sit in your room on your phone, nothing will happen to you.
Yeah.
But if you walk out the door,
all it takes is that one random conversation with who knows what, and God knows where the day's going to lead you. Yeah.
Yeah. And the most, honestly, awesomely beautiful stuff happens. It's really, really amazing. So, yeah. The trick is to go out the door. Go out the door. That's it, man.
Good life lesson there.
You just named the book.
Yeah,
go out the door.
There's the book title right there.
Yeah, we're away. We're away. Oh, geez. But there are so many crazy things that, and it's funny how. So if you go into like when I say Latvia, places like that, the police are very like they're much more corrupt over there. Like they'll pull you over and they'll be like, oh, if you give me, X amount of euros, you can clear off. And we have been in that situation where we've been like, shit, we've got no euros. And they're like, well, if you go to the next petrol station, we will meet you there and then draw out the money and give us the money. And so we're like, but we've got so many hours to get to where we need to be. So we like literally instead drive and are racing the police to the border, because we know when we get to the border, they can't pull us over and they can't do anything about it. So,
I remembered that. Was that Latvia that happened?
That was, we were in Latvia where we got nobbled and we were going to Riga.
Yeah, remember that was
So
mad.
yeah, and we were on a 22-hour journey from A to B. I think it was 22 or something like that. But when when they pulled us over and they wanted us to go to the next thing, we realised that literally really close to there was the border. So if we just ran to the border, we'd get away. So we did. Oh God.
We might have some editing to do here, Scottie.
Yeah.
Just to be on the safe side.
I know, yeah, to stop us getting in trouble. Yeah, but I mean, who's going to know? I mean, who's going to know what bus it was or whatever? You know,
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's that's what makes life amazing, isn't it? It's the wild wonderfuls, you know, like you do you know, like, I guess in a funny way, I'm very lucky. I wake up every morning and I look at my missus and my kids and I think, fucking wow, how did I land up there? Because like, for one, you don't plan anything, or you might plan one or two things, but not much, and you don't really know how. I'm getting there, aren't I? Yeah, but like you don't know how you're going to be. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. It just sort of happens to you, and then you got to realize what you're lucky for.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And you got to recognize it. It's easy to, like, I guess in a way, I always thought I was gonna be successful. I wished I'd be successful. I tried hard to be successful. I always drove at something, but like, we've done some amazing things, and we have had some awesome times and good luck, and it's been fucking fantastic. And
just the passion with which you guys have been telling these stories and talking about your experiences and whatnot just shows it right there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's cool.
I could quite have it all night. I'm like, tell me everything.
Yeah.
I'm inherently nosy. I can't help myself. I'm like, well, what happened? So if I help it, I'm just like, tell me everything. So, but no.
It's funny because I kind of forget about half of these things that happen, and you bring it back up, and I'm like, oh my God, I completely forgot about that. Like,
I know, yeah.
Funny,
it's not till I start talking about it that I start laughing about it, and it all just starts getting silly,
Yeah.
It's good to memory lane though, isn't it? And remember all these stuff that you've done.
Yeah, Stacey, you're exactly right. Live like you're dying.
Yeah, live like you're dying.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm glad I know down here that could spill anything, so it's like, this is good just watching other people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bless you. Oh, you guys are hilarious. Thank you for doing this.
That's cool.
Oh, thank you for having us. It's been great fun.
It has
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been
if you ever want another one, quite happy to do another one. So
yeah, happy days.
Happy wicked, yeah.
Wicked. It'd be great.
You've got plenty more stories, so just
never ends. There's loads.
Yeah.
But this is the thing, like, you think about it realistically, like, we are, as Luke said, we've already like written a bunch more songs. We're actually like planning probably the most ambitious music video we've ever planned, which, we'll see how that, we're trying something pretty ambitious. I guess the point I'm getting at is, like, we're not like, the road's nowhere near done yet. So, like, you get to that moment where you're thinking, like, I know there's just going to be more crazy shit that happens, you just know it. Like, it's going to get more interesting. I mean, you know, it's funny. We've only covered a few bands as well. When you really think about it, there's been so many other crazy, mad things. But yeah.
Yeah.
Days.
Yeah, definitely need to write that book, 100%.
Yeah.
And it will definitely be a first volume, no question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
When you get down to volume 10, you're like, oh, guys, what have you been doing?
Yeah. The thing is, it's remembering the detail, because the devil's in the detail. It's all the little things that make it really that go from being slightly unusual to being really weird or funny. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you know, what we'd have to do is
That's enough.
I don't know.
You need somebody like who go along with you and just write down, like, just watch everything you do and just write it all down, like.
Well, this is why sometimes when things happen, I'm just like, record this now, quick record, because we just know something crazy is going to go off, and like you kind of get a vibe, you know.
Something is going to happen tonight. Don't know what, just something's going to.
Yeah.
Maybe
It sort of starts happening.
Lap dancer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like, ask Matt about when he met Gary Newman, which is awesome but awful. Because the thing is, the way I describe it is like, Gary Newman's new fucking music is awesome. Like, he's so great. I'd love to tour with Gary Newman. That's a wicked one I'd love to tour with. The reality is, with the humiliating moment that Matt had, we'd probably never, ever, ever be allowed to do it.
Where's Matt gone?
Matt's remaining very quiet.
He's there, yeah.
I'm like looking at him like, is he gone? It's like, nope.
No, he's there. Come on, Matt.
Can you hear me? Can you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was after we played at Brixton or something, and I'd seen this guy on the stairs, and I was like, oh, I know this guy. I fucking know this guy. And I was like, yeah, I know who this is.
How many beers did you have?
Oh, too many. And
whose fault was that?
Mine. And no, I've just gone up to him and I've gone, oh, how's it going? I was like, you're Gary Oldman, aren't you? And he goes, no, I'm Gary Newman. And he just walks off. And I was just like, oh, no. My moment.
Oh, no.
I wonder how many times he gets that, though, and vice versa.
He probably thought I was taking a piss, but I completely.
You were just pissed. Oh my god!
I'm
It
literally
was amazing though, because I watched him do it. It was shorter than that. You were like, "You're Gary Oldman," who's like Newman.
Then just walked off.
Yeah, he just walked off, and I sat there, and it was the funniest thing I've ever seen, and yet it was like Misery in a View, you know, like it was like, please, how did you get it so wrong? And yet, like, as I say, his new music's just been fucking awesome, you know, and it's like, oh, we're just never getting that tour. It wouldn't matter what we do. We could sell Matt's soul, and there's just no way it's gonna. He might actually have forgotten who you are, actually, Matt. If we shaved you,
I'm sure
get away with it. You know, like.
we shave you.
Yeah,
wow.
what we should do, perhaps, is give you a full-on wax and see if we can get it.
Get
It'd
it
be
all out.
fucking awesome.
He'll never remember. Yeah, long time.
Yeah. Trouble is, Matt, you were pissed. He probably wasn't.
And on the upside, if it's happened to him a lot of times, maybe it's all blurred together for him too. So
You never know.
Maybe.
You never know.
Yeah.
I just don't know if I believe that. I just don't know. It was wonderful though, and this is what I mean. You know, you can't make it up when these things happen. Especially when you're sitting there watching these things happen. You're watching them and you're thinking to yourself, "Fucking hell!" Like, oh my god, there's the door. Let's go. You know,
The only way we'll know if he remembers who Matt is we've got to try and get on tour with him. That's the only way. And then, like, first night of the tour, Matt's got to go up and just say hi, and we'll just see what happens.
Maybe he should go up. Hi, you're Gary Oldman. What happens? Mate. First night and last night. Jesus.
Yeah, just
oh,
too many albums before.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
It's only afterwards when he's done it, and then you can go, and you're like.
And what you could do is do a really subtle version and wear like a Dracula T-shirt, you know, from like the movie, you know, with Gary Oldman on it.
Yeah.
Just see if he notices. You know.
Or you could have in Leon, because he looks that.
Yeah.
We could do something like that and just see what happens, you know, like I don't think, you know, and there's, you know, it's funny, isn't it? What a legend though, man. He's had an awesome career.
Never have I ever had a tour end before it starts.
Yeah. And that was it. You know, we've just revived that memory for him. So, you know, no fucking hope. But will I go and see him? Definitely. I'd love to go and see him. I'd really love to go and see him. I reckon it'd be a wicked gig. It's funny because there are some people who over time stagnate, and there are other people who evolve. And there was a moment, I think he worked with Trent Reznor, and it just was an evolutionary time, you know. And he just he hasn't stagnated. He's evolved, and I think that's the only way to not just stay relevant but to be good, if you know what I mean. You've got to look at what's around you and just go like, what am I doing? What's not good? What is good? What's not? What's next? I think that was something that happened with this album as well. When we made the album that we did, we had a moment of almost epiphany, and there was a discussion amongst us about, we kind of knew it, but we weren't sure, and that kind of dictated the release order, as it were, the way we ordered releasing the songs, because we realized that we were how do I describe it? I'll tell you what I described it like. I described it like we were like ether metal. We made this sort of music very ethereal but heavy. That was what I described it like. And then when we kind of knew that, it kind of like, it made the next, all right, any louder? Dog's starting to sort of like snore, like not loudly, but like breathe really, really aggressively.
I wonder what that was.
What's that?
Yes, the dog, yeah. She's like, I don't know if you can see her.
Oh.
She's lovely.
Couldn't tell if it was
really
that or if
good.
cloud had collapsed on us. I wasn't sure which one it was.
I thought someone was breathing very heavily,
Yeah.
I can see
Cloud's
just
back on the meds.
yeah, exactly.
Oh, blimey.
I think all the drinks from the Never I Ever's put them on the floor.
Yeah.
Ether metal. I like that term. That's nice.
That's good.
Well, it was kind of like, I was trying to think of how to describe it. We were like ethereal but heavy, but without being like screamy. Do you know what I mean? And then like one day I just thought that's what we sound like, ether metal. And then the beauty of that is it makes it much easier to for me personally to write, because I like the realization of who you are. It's a bit like growing up, being a kid, isn't it? When you start off, you kind of like think, oh, you know, it's cool to do whatever, and gradually you realize what's cool for you and not for everyone else. So it doesn't matter anymore. Just do what's cool for you. Yeah. Basically, we're never going to be Metallica, or we're never going to be Rammstein or whatever. We're going to be us, and that's that. And that's good. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, it's good. And like, you've got your own flavor. It works for you. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I said, I found you guys from Instagram. I think it was like an ad, and I was like, and I think I'm trying to think which song it was. I can't remember now, but I remember I clicked on it because I usually just skip them. But I was like, oh, and I was like, ooh, what's that? And I was like, and I went. And that's literally like, you know, and I think that's the thing that sort of sets you apart from those sort of bands. You've sound different, and that's always a good thing, isn't it? So
Yeah. That's Luke being clever, the internet. Everything internet is either Luke or Laura. They're like computery wizards.
yeah, I think I've only I think I can't remember. Like, you do. Just dropped in there again. Would you like to do an interview?
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, no, that was wicked. But yeah, no, so like your newest album's like absolutely wicked. It's one of my favorite ones. I can't stop listening to it. I'm terrible. Everybody's like, can you put something else on, please? I'm like, I be like that then. I was like, I have to put something else. But then I put something else on, I'm like, yeah, we hear that too. And I'm like,
Yeah.
No pleasing anyway. So yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I've had a great evening.
We had a great time.
Yeah,
Awesome.
pleasure chatting with all of you.
Yeah, we'll have to do it again sometime. We'll try and think of some more brutal Never Have I Evers, because you know, I've never played that game before. Now I know what it's about. I think I can really stitch some people up, but I just need a bit more time.
A bit more leverage. I know what you mean. I'm tempted to plant some Never Have I Evers.
Yeah.
There were even several questions that Scottie was going to use, and she's like, that might be going a little too far. Yeah, no, you guys went way past what she was thinking. Oh, yeah.
It's like the line
Yeah.
like, can I cross this line, or am I going to be like, oh, we're not doing anything with her again? You know what I mean? It's like, oh, shit. So,
Yeah, no, you hurdled her line. You long jumped way past it. So, yeah.
But no, it's fine. I can just like, never have I ever join the Mile High Club.
No, but I've watched someone do it.
You've watched someone do it?
Yeah, sadly, I was in a scene of 3.
Oh,
It was
God.
rather amusing.
Oh, no.
Hey, dude, I mean, you know what? Sometimes the entertainment on there ain't all that up to much anyway, so, you know, it's just life, isn't it? So I can't say never have I ever, but I can say, I suppose it's a half a sip.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Scottie, and thanks, Charles, as well, for doing all the IT techie stuff.
Yeah.
I'd like to be that guy.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thank
know,
you.
No worries. Our pleasure.
You know, checking of things and setting stuff up and letting people in and all that carry on.
Absolutely.
And yeah, thanks to all the hardcore who's made it to the end. Well done, everyone. Nice.
Yeah, well done, guys.
Thank
Thanks,
you for all the
everyone.
questions.
Yeah.
Yep.
And next time we'll get more shots, worse questions. So
Yeah.
never have
Yeah, go for it. However you like.
Wicked.
wicked.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you much, all. Bye-bye.
See ya. Bye.